Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. You know I'm not important. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheem out of Atlanta, but we got a few people here that are very important. Ladies are always first, so this is my sister from another mother, but we got the same father. This is my good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I
Good
am.
deal. Good deal. Good to have you. Good to have you. Badger. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Another beautiful and blessed day.
Good deal. Good deal. Ryan. Let me say it like that. Ryan. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well at work again.
There you go. Hey, hey, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Hey, how you say make that cheddar? Make that cheddar. Gotta get it. Gotta get it.
Yes,
Let me ask
sir.
you, Mr. Bill. We the Bill got a lot of people in his family. He got electric bill. He got gas bill. And boy, it's a lot of people in that Bill family, man, and all of them are greedy. So, Ryan, why do you think all of them are so greedy?
Uh, I don't have an answer for that. They all greedy because they like me. They want to get paid.
There you go. There you go. I want to talk about something this morning. We're gonna start off, and certainly this is not gonna be our topic of the whole day, but we're gonna start off right here. Ryan, I'm gonna come to you first with this again. What is your and you can answer this question the way that you want to answer it. It's deep or it's shallow if you want to answer it. It's up to you. But what is your invisible pain?
My invisible pain,
Yeah. I got
probably
people.
work.
Wow.
I mean, I enjoy what I do, right? Um, I do it every day. But I'm 42 years old and throwing these tires is going to crumple my body eventually.
Hmm.
And it causes me to not be home with my wife and kids a lot. I did over 60 hours last week. That's a
Wow.
lot.
That's a lot.
So it's it's not a every week thing. I deal with it because we're through a transition period right now with a new system. But that's my invisible pain is not being able to be home, chilling out, relaxing, hanging out with my wife.
Good deal. Good deal. Badger, excuse me. Badger, what is your invisible pain?
What? Where in the world do you get this question from?
Come on, man. Handle it. Handle it.
Uh,
Handle it.
I don't know how deep you want to go on this.
It's up to you, brother. I said I preface it
Oh,
by
come
saying
on now.
it's up. No, it's up to you. But come on, let's answer it though. Come on, Badger.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to word that.
Silence costs money.
Well, I don't know. Back then, they were able to make money off of it. Charlie Chaplin.
Hmm. You got a look on,
Oh,
on Zamar's face like what? What?
I know who Charlie Chaplin is, and
Oh,
I know a little bit about his life, so I know what he's talking
mhm.
about.
Okay. Okay. So, Badger, are you done with it with that particular part of it?
well, what do you think?
Just answer it, brother. I can't answer for you. I can't answer what you're
Well,
invisible
no, I'm. When you say pain, what do you mean exactly?
pain, hurt.
Go to Z for now. I gotta figure out how to word it.
Okay. Zamari, what is your invisible pain?
Dude, that's a loaded question. It really is. It's a loaded question. Invisible pain. That is, ooh, it's like putting a smile on your face and facing the world, right? That's kind of what it reminds me of. My invisible pain is so many things, really. It's not just one thing, it's so many things. The pain
Mhm.
of, which I guess would also the pain of failing my children when I fail them, right? Because nobody sees that. The pain of, I know I have this story somewhere inside of me, but I can never just get it out on paper and continue to write that. And that plagues me, right? The pain of not healing from my past, even though I think that I have in some ways, but I still carry it with me every day and it affects my children.
Wow. See, and I knew, and I saved you for last tomorrow because I know that a lot of times questions like this, ladies answer them a lot better than we do.
Yeah.
Because we still as men sometimes we hide behind certain things, and we don't want to put certain things on the forefront, and we don't want to be as transparent as y'all will.
Well, and the effects of my children, right? Let me add one more thing to that. The effect that it's had on my husband too.
Yeah.
Because it's not just them that have to deal with whatever aftermath has happened in my life, right? But he has to deal with it too.
Yeah.
And he deals with it on a different level than what my children do, because I'm much more transparent with him with a lot of things. And he knows what's going on with me. So he has to deal with all of those invisible pains. Even if I'm not speaking it, he knows it. And so, yeah, it's some days are harder than others. Absolutely. So I don't know, like that's my invisible pain. But again, it goes even beyond those things, right? That's just barely scratching the surface with it.
Yeah, exactly. Coming back to you, Ryan, brother, talk to me. What is your invisible pain?
I really don't know, man. Like, I just, like what I said, I enjoy time with my wife. I enjoy being at home. It's really just it's a compounding thing, right? Because most couples that my wife and I have dealt with in our life, they don't like to be around each other. They like their space.
Yeah.
And so it's a different dynamic for us. People ask all the time, how do you guys do this? You sit around and hang out and you're never apart. The longest we ever been apart was the 4 months that we had a transition from Tennessee back to Detroit. And that was hard. It was super hard. We're always together. We try very hard not to argue, get into fights, because that's a rare occurrence for us. And when I mean rare, I mean super rare. So we don't go to bed mad, stuff like that. And so not being able to be home with my wife and just enjoying, even if we're not hanging out, right, just being in the same space is a joy most of the time. So it just sucks, like being at work all the time, busting my rear. I do it because I love her and I love my kids,
Yeah.
So, but that's really the only gripe I have, as far as life is concerned, and having an invisible pain, as you call it. Everything else to me is just gravy. I roll with it. I don't let stuff affect me very much. There's certain things that do affect me, but it's not the majority consensus, so I don't talk about it.
Exactly. And see, and that's the thing, but I have to do this right here before we move on, before I go up, before I take another iota of a step. I have to say happy birthday to my wife, man. We've been married for 26 years. Today is her birthday. She's actually at work right now, so she may be sticking her head in every now and then, but want to say happy birthday to her and tell her how much I love her, man. And I would not be who I am. I would not be half of who I am without her, man. She came into a little nuts life. I say it like that. And at a time when I was a nut, and she through God showed love, patience, and understanding, and taught me so much, and made me the person that y'all see before you all today. So I want to say I love my wife. I love her dearly, and wouldn't want to spend this existence with anybody except her.
Happy birthday to your wife, man. Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Yeah, happy
Mrs.
birthday to
Rahim.
Mrs. Raheen for sure. Absolutely.
Wow. So y'all gonna get me all emotional. Y'all talking about them tears, but y'all gonna get me emotional around here. I gotta keep moving. Badger, what's your invisible? And before we do that, the phone lines are open 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Tell us what is your invisible pain? Badger, talk to me, brother.
Being a good enough dad, father,
Mm-hmm.
husband, friend, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How
much would it disappoint you if, for whatever reason, you found yourself falling short?
I don't know. And happy birthday to your wife, by the way.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's something I try not to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of dynamics to it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I guess being transparent,
Yeah.
So most of my stuff is related to my autism.
Mm-hmm.
Not being able to, I miss a lot of social cues. I don't, I'm not the best person to teach how to be social. There's just a lot of things that I struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Badger, we're gonna stay here just for a second more. I don't want to go too deep into this because I don't know how far you want to go. But my thing is this right here. How much does that is that a disappointment to you that you're not able to give them those things that you obviously, right, by you even speaking it, you want to be able to give to them? Does it hurt you to not be able to do that?
you're going to get me crying at 6 something in the morning.
It's okay. Tears don't have a clock on them, brother.
Yeah, it does. Fortunately, I have an amazing wife that is very good at that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we balance each other out. I can see how their behavior is because of the way that I live. I do feel that I've been a somewhat decent role model.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I see how they treat other people.
Yeah.
But I sit and I watch the kids talk sometimes the way that I do, and I see how it's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I see how my oldest struggles because he inherited what I have. And that I don't know. I'm not really good at talking about these things because I'm still learning how.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't really have an environment to know how to talk about these things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard.
Yeah.
Being mentally different. In a society that almost seems to think in the opposite way that I do.
Wow.
Most people are emotion driven. I'm logical and literal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not always a good thing.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Ryan. Ryan, are you still with us, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
Talk to me, man. How do you if and I know how you love your family, man. I know how you love your family, man. And everybody that's been watching the broadcast should know. So how would it feel for you if for whatever reason you found out that you was falling short in one of the areas in taking care of maintaining your family? How would that affect you?
Oh, that would affect me big. It's kind of like we were talking about welfare yesterday, and the comment that I had made where we just got off of that assistance stuff, and for me, now that I'm in a position to where I gotta micromanage everything now, because I don't want to be that person stuck in the dependency mode. If I start slacking and my kids aren't getting that lifestyle they're used to, then I'm gonna start feeling some kind of way about myself. And so yeah, I mean, it would affect me in a lot of different ways. You start to look at yourself and feel like if you're doing enough, or if you're slouching and not being a man, or starting to get lazy. There's all kinds of dynamics to it. We just had this discussion with my second daughter last night. She's going through some things, and I just let her know last night, like, you want for nothing. You have everything you ask for, everything you need, and if that's going to start leading to you being spoiled, then I'm gonna start taking stuff away from you. And I'm probably not gonna do that. That's the type of dad I am, right? But she has everything. She got big screen TV, a PlayStation in her room. She got a phone. These are things that I couldn't even dream of growing up. And so I'm happy to provide those things, but if I start to not be able to do those things, then I'm gonna have to start questioning myself. What's going on? Do I need to start looking for another job? Do I need to start, all of these different things, even though where I'm at, I'm doing real good. So I don't know, man. It's a complex scenario for my brain.
Yeah, exactly. And it is because we don't want to, a lot of time we don't want to even think about that, man, about falling short. Because men, that's a position that society has said that we belong in, the providers, and make sure we go out there and hustle and grind and do what we need to do for our families. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I can't complain, man. Just happy to see a new day. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Good to have you, brother. We asking a question, and Rico, I need to to dig into the heart, man, and answer this question for me. But what is your invisible pain?
Yeah, that's a little too deep for me right now, man. Y'all go ahead and go to the next person, because it's too early for me to dig into that.
Good deal. Zamari, as a mother, if you found yourself falling short in your quote unquote motherly duties, how would that affect you as a mother, knowing the responsibility as a mother that you have in the family?
I fall short every day.
Wow.
Every day. I already know that I do. And it hurts. It's not a comfortable place to be when you know that you're falling short, even when you're doing your best, or you think you're doing your best. But, and I'm sure fathers go through this too, right? But there's always more. There's always something else. I can do this, or I should be doing that, or why aren't I doing this? I fall short every day. I fail my children every single day.
Wow.
But you know what they do? My son especially, Mommy, you're such a good mommy. You're the best mommy. And it makes me feel good, but at the same time, it makes me feel sad. Because he's seeing me in this beautiful light, that I am the best thing there is since sliced bread. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, sweetheart, if you only knew.
Wow.
So yeah, I fall short every day, and it hurts. There have been times where I've gone to bed and cried because I got mad at my kids for something and overreacted. Or I can remember one time I sat in the bathroom on the phone with one of my girlfriends, crying on the floor in my bathroom, because at that point we could not afford to put our second oldest on a cheer team that she desperately wanted to do. And that was something she'd wanted to do since kindergarten. She wanted to be a cheerleader. And this was through a gymnastics class, but it's too expensive. We couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and I cried because I felt like a failure not being able to afford to do that for her. Even though it's something that doesn't really have any bearing on her daily living, right? But it was something I wanted to be able to do for her. And I felt like I was a bad mom, or I wasn't a good enough mom because I couldn't be that mom that could afford that. So,
but see, what we have to understand sometimes, and sometimes there are situations where, you know, things are outside of our reach and we can't obtain them, you know, even for our kids. But you got to also look at the thing that you do give.
I give them love. I give them guidance.
Yes.
I do all of that, you know, as much as I can. But like with my inability to keep a good sleep schedule, for instance, there are days, being completely transparent here, but there are days when my kids come home at 3:30 is when they start coming home. I'm asleep. I'm asleep. 4 o'clock, 4:30, my other two roll in. I'm still asleep. And sometimes dinner doesn't get done and put on the table till 7:30, 8 o'clock because I was asleep. That makes me feel less than a good mother because I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired because I can't keep a good sleep schedule. And that doesn't make me feel good.
That sounds like it's something that's outside of your control.
Maybe. Because even if I do, like I said, I have stuff to help me sleep, right? It's all natural stuff. But even if I take those sometimes, and I woke up, like today, I woke up at 5:30 this morning. Didn't take that sleepy time stuff, but I had slept yesterday until 7 something. And then I went back to bed at midnight, naturally fell asleep. Now, and this is my body's pattern. It does this weird stuff. I'll be up today, but I promise you by 6 o'clock, I'm going to want to crash. And I'm not going to be able to put my kids to bed. I'm not going to be able to kiss them goodnight because, you know, but it just, in that kind of stuff, it makes me feel like I'm coming up short as a mom.
Wow. And see, a lot of people don't take time to acknowledge their invisible pains. We all have them. We all have them. Ryan, are you with us, brother?
Yeah, I'm here, just working.
What's on your heart? Talk to me. He just put a lot out there, man. She just put a lot out there.
She did. I kind of caught bits and pieces. Like I said, it's training day, so I'm doing a lot of extra. It's kind of loud. I don't really know if I have too much more to add as far as that. I mean, you ever heard that?
Why are these
that
pains,
song?
why are the pains that we're talking about invisible?
Because nobody else see them until you bring them out, till you put them in the light. So, you ever heard that song? My wife says it's about me. It's called Simple Man.
Yeah.
She said that's me. Not simple as in brain dead, but I'm simple.
Yeah.
I only require certain things as a man to be happy. And that's my wife, my kids, having a job and being able to do my end to provide. And so, you know, it's just those things that make me happy. But then that's it. That's 15. So, you know, I don't have to go much more like into depth than that. I'm simple. Like, just give me my basic life functions, a little bit of freedom, and I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta have too much more than that. And I guess that's what differentiates me from other individuals is I don't require much. I don't ask for much.
Mhm.
Just give me those little things and I'm gonna be happy. I don't need all the extras. You know, like we talk about moving out into the country and stuff like that, getting away from the city. And my caveat to that is always, I just need high speed internet. That's all I ask for.
Wow, wow. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
There's a lot to it
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways, and that's why having a person to talk to, an open communicative relationship, is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a man, you need to be able to be open enough and connected enough to your emotions to speak with your spouse, but you also need to be open-minded enough in things to sit there and listen and so lift your wife up too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's back and forth.
Yeah.
And a lot of times if a person feels like they don't have that, there's a very good chance they're going to go in a downward spiral.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
Wow.
know, the struggles that we have on the inside, the ones that are called the invisible. It fortunately, I've got to learn a lot of what having something that's invisible really means.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we live in a society that will tell people to suck it up, deal with it, and all kinds of negative things. It's changing. People are starting to say, hey, it's okay to talk. It's okay to cry. It's okay to do these things because it's being a human,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not just some clone or robot, you know? And it's life is a journey.
Yeah.
We're going to have pain. We're going to have our own personal demons to deal with, or thoughts, negativity, undue toxic teachings, trauma that we have to overcome, hateful human beings that we have to deal with on a daily basis that may not, that could be racist, bigots, silver tongues, whatever you want to call them. It's and that it's life,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Wow.
and then we have to weigh, if we had toxic parents, you know, are we undoing the cycle? Or are we treating the kids the same way we were treated?
Wow. That's good. That's
We did it
good.
by accident and not even realize it.
Mm-hmm. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Brother Pete, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, sir. How you? DKM Radio Morning Glow, Panel Family Facebook,
Yes,
in
sir.
the world. Tune in to DKM Radio Morning Glow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pete, I'm asking a question, and I want you to, dig deep inside yourself and answer this for me. Pete, what is your invisible pain?
I didn't hear the question.
What is your invisible pain?
What is right? This. I really don't pay attention to stuff that don't matter. I just only pay attention to what does. What is my
Hey, Pete, talk
invisible
directly into the phone for
pain?
me. It's going in and out. Talk directly into the phone for me.
Okay. I don't have to think about that, Raheem. You might have to come back. I can't put my finger on a invisible pain.
Mm-hmm. What is that hurt that you have that you don't want nobody to know about? You if you get out there, you feel like it'll be how do you say the word catastrophic? However you say that fancy word my wife be using on you.
Probably my strong dislike and hatred for injustice.
Mm.
and the fact that I truly would like to line some folks up and just cut them in half for the things that they have done on this planet to humanity and other individuals. I feel like, it's not my place in one degree, but I feel like so many have qualified so fully for it, and the damages exist and continue to increase. And I just would like a purge day where I can stack them, on the universe high.
The views expressed by Brother Pete are not necessarily the views of DKM Media Group and associates and its affiliates. Rico, love. Rico, you there? There you go. There you go. Love. Do men and women love on different levels?
Man, that's another one. But I mean, I can't group everybody together in a question like that, man. Men love differently than other men. Women love differently than other women. I mean, so that's another question where I would just be trying to come up with something out of the air to try to make sense out of, and I would be actually probably rubbing other people wrong with my analysis because other men gonna say, "No, that ain't true. That ain't the way I feel." I mean, but the obvious question is individuals love different. I mean, this ain't. I don't even think this is a situation where you could just put a man and a woman on it. I just look at it as the fact that men love differently, women love differently, and on top of that, you know what I'm saying, groups of women. I mean, they just, I don't know if I can answer that one, man. I don't know if I can answer that one. That's almost like that invisible pain thing, to me, that sounds more like of a dark desire or a dark secret. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that you say as a pain or something that you say you don't want nobody to know about, well, obviously that's probably gonna be something that I wouldn't tell anybody.
Let me do it like this. If talk about the invisible pain, if there was something that happened to you, and when I say you, I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm using the generalizing it. But if there's something that happened to you when you was a little boy, somebody you say you wanted to be an astronaut, and somebody that's very close to you came up to you and say, "Man, you ain't gonna be no astronaut. I want you to go and put your energy towards something else. Put your energy towards something. You ain't gonna be no astronaut, man. When have you ever seen an astronaut that looks like you?" And that's something that you carry, because a lot of times when people say stuff to you, depending on who says it, you carry it, you hold on to it. And if they tell you something like that, to me, that's like an invisible pain. That's something that you didn't voice it, you didn't speak on it, but at the same time, it still hurts you to know that the person that's that close to you would not encourage you. Instead, they shooting you down and saying that you'll never do that. You'll never be that individual. That to me is what I mean when I say like in one example. There's many, but one example of an invisible pain.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could work with that, but I guess what you would say probably was like one of the roots
Yes.
root cause of maybe a negative feeling or something that you had, that maybe people don't know
Yes.
about. So I guess I could associate with that. I mean, I guess not being rewarded when you deserve you accomplish certain goals.
Yeah, there you go.
Something like that. I mean, I think that probably pretty much affects anybody when they're not appreciated or when they are told that they'll be rewarded for doing something and they don't get rewarded. You know what I'm saying? So I guess being ripped off or being lied to.
Exactly. That's good.
You know what I'm saying? That'll be my biggest pain is being manipulated. You know what I'm saying? And then being stressed and frustrated. I don't like being disrespected. Some people might not understand my level of I don't even want to say pain. Like I said, that's why I say when you say pain, I don't even want to say if it's a level of pain or a level of anger that, you know what I'm saying, because of my principles of things that I won't tolerate or stand for. So, but yeah, that invisible pain thing, man, I guess it would be being discouraged.
Wow.
From doing something that I like, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe helping doing something good. I know one thing I do dislike is being an accomplice to something negative. that has a negative result. I don't want to be the result or the reason or cause behind something negative happening or a negative situation or something negative happening to somebody. You know, I don't want to be the cause behind somebody getting in trouble unless I intended for them to get in trouble. So, you know, unless I intended for a situation to go sideways. If I had, you know, pure innocent, you know, benevolent reasons for doing something and all of a sudden it went wrong or sideways, I don't like that. I don't like being a contributor to mess and drama.
That's good. That's good. Toya with a T. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Hold on. What the energy at, man? Hold on. Is that Toya with a T? Or that a clone?
Yep. Nope. That's Toya with the T.
Okay. I'm used to you come in and kicking the door in. You know, you ain't kicked the door in. You tapped on the door. Is anybody home? Is anybody home? And I ain't used to that Toya with a T. I'm used to the one that kicked the door in. Hey.
Well, you know, I'm kind of sad today. So, you know, got a lot going on. I don't really feel that energetic. I'm worried about my nephew. So it's not there today, but let me turn it on. Hey, y'all. Good morning. How y'all doing?
There you go. There you go. And we're definitely praying for your nephew and everything, man. Make sure everything works out well. He's definitely in our prayers. Yeah. But Toya, what is your invisible pain?
What is my invisible pain? Oh, I mean, you know, I don't know. I think my invisible pain is just stupidity that some of these people in this world got, right? Things that don't affect me, but happens to other people and it still hurts. You know, we got a lot of individuals who just don't care about their kids.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times I felt like my parents didn't really care about me. They're just clothing me and feeding me and feel like they can tell me what to do. Has nothing to do with physical violence. But you know when somebody don't really like you. You know when somebody don't really care. You know when somebody's not really bonded with you. You know when somebody really don't want you to do better than them. You know when somebody is jealous of you because of what they had to go through. And you're not, you know, mamas be jealous of their daughters and fathers be jealous of their sons, right?
Yep.
That's invisible pains. Or what? You know what I'm saying? Good. How you gonna have these kids and then you want to bake them in the oven? How you gonna have these kids? My friend from New York just called me the other day and said the lady in her building drowned 3 of her kids on Coney Island Beach.
Good Lord.
Stuff like that. Stuff like that. Ain't got nothing to do with me, but just the thought. Here we go again on how people, what in the world is going on? How about you call DFACS and they know that you're getting abused and they say, oh, well, that's for the cost side. We tell the school what's going on. Oh, we can't do nothing. We can only talk to the parent that's on the sheet. You know, this world crazy. I'm so over it right now, Raheem. When I say over it, I'm numb. I don't care about nothing anymore. I'm finna put my head in the ground and just do me because everything around revolving in this world, people are retarded. Nobody cares about nothing no more. Nobody. They don't even care about your food. They know that chip fell on the floor. Pick it up, put it in a bowl because they're working and they just got like I'm just done with humanity, man, because we retarded, yo. Just refuse to do right, man. And those are my invisible pains, man. How we humans use this dominion and just don't care about nothing. Not our kids, not our relationships, not our school system and the future of our kids. We just don't care about nothing but dollars and personal satisfaction, man. It's wild out here, yo. I'm thrown off right now this morning, man, for real. And for those good people like us, your hands is tied. So when you do pull a Christopher Dorn, right? The world gonna look at you like you wrong. They're gonna look at you like you wrong. When you tied your hands. They tied your hands. Your child or somebody telling you, "Oh, I'm in pain," and they say you can't do nothing. So when you get a pistol and you go handle your business, then they gonna say that it's your fault. Like I'm really hot over here right now, yo, at how we handle our kids, how we handle our food, how we handle our educational system, how we handling our officers when it comes to abusing, especially black men. I'm not disregarding white people, but I said especially black men. You know what I'm saying? I'm just really sick of it, and those are my invisible pains, man. Like, I'm over the world. They feel like little needles. I feel like a porcupine, and little needles just sticking me every time I look up and I see something new.
But you know what, Toya? You are a fighter, and you're not going to stop fighting. You are a fighter, and I promise you, yeah, we all get frustrated sometimes. The weight of the world is heavy sometimes, and sometimes it get a little heavier. But there are some individuals that are fighters, and that's going to fight, and just won't give up the fight. You just happen to be one of them. So keep fighting, sister. Keep fighting. Know that if you need any one of us that's here, we all are here. We all got your back. Now, we ain't gonna go and pull no trigger and stuff like that for you, but we got your back, though. You know, I had to throw.
And I hope you know I never want y'all to, and I would never allow y'all to, but I'm gonna need some help on that commissary. And it's enough for us on here. Maybe a couple of coins on that bail, or maybe a letter or two, or something like that. I always make the stress calls. So whoever get the call, I don't know how we gonna get it done, but I'm gonna need to be restrained. No, I'm just joking. I know
it. I know you are. But at the same time, you know, if we need to come over some bail money for anyone, we will come up with the bail money. But you know, that's just what it is. You know, depending on But Joel J, Joel J, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good day, Morning Glow family. Good day. I'm well. How are you, my friend?
Hey, doing good. Asking a question, brother, and I need you to dig into your heart a little bit for this one, man. What is your invisible pain?
That's an exquisite question, wonderful question, and I've been listening since the show started this day, and I was thinking about this as I was dropping my son off and coming back here before I got on, and my invisible pain is me disappointing my children. Like the young lady said, because I'm disabled and I can't do or I can't be there for every event when it rains or when it's inclement weather, I'm stuck in the bed. It hurts me to my core that I can't spend time with my children. Why? Because my dad was never there. I never knew him, never saw him, never touched him. So I try very, very hard to be Superman for my kids, even being hurt, even being mentally distracted or whatever. I try my best to be, Superman for my children, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it hurts me when I'm stuck in bed and my children have an event like a football game, like a recital, anything. Those things are my invisible pains. Not blame anyone, because I know all things, are still with God's grace. His grace is sufficient for me. At the same time, the choices that I made in my past now prohibits me from being the best father that I really, really want to be for my children. So that's my invisible pain. Wow. And my wife. I heard people talking about that as well. Me wanting to, be a helpmate to my wife, being there for her when she wants to talk, when she wants to do things. I want to be a protector, if you will. But if I'm hurt or if I can't walk at the time and she has to do it all by herself, that destroys me.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And see, and that's something, man, I didn't know how y'all was going to take this particular question. I know it's a little complicated, but I'm going to tell you something, man. Y'all knocking it out the park, man. Brother Pete, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Well, I mean, it just goes to show our individuality and our thoughts, our opinions, our feelings, our perspectives, and what's important to us. Mm-hmm. And you're hearing and you're seeing the effects of humanity, those that have humanity, that possess those qualities, caring and concern and love and kindness and gentleness. It's a beautiful thing to hear.
Exactly.
I kind of thought the high-tech dialect Bloods and Crips was gonna come out. Yo, son, yo, kid. Oh, Toya, you all right? But that's just listening right now, and it's just a beautiful thing to hear. We're told and we're projected so many opinions and perspectives of so much garbage and nonsense. And when we're able to sit down and just have, a family conversation one with another, we get to see that the majority of us are not the projection that's projected to us on mainstream out in the media, and with the attention so often. That's not who the majority of us are. So it's just a beautiful thing, and I'm in the background listening.
Exactly. Zamari?
I like what Jay said. Honestly, I really do, because that's I think that's most parents. We have those feelings of, are we enough? Are we doing enough? And then when we're not, or when we miss, like what he said, miss those games or miss those recitals, then we feel like we're just not, like that, missing that one thing. Even if it's just one, you could have gone to 10, but you missed that one. And that just makes you feel so bad inside. Like you're not that Superman. You're not that Superwoman. You've let your kids down because, like with him, he maybe he can't get out of bed that day, or maybe you're sick and you just can't go. And it just makes you feel like you are the worst parent in the world. And oh my gosh, this is going to ruin everything for their future because I didn't go to that one thing, and it's going to affect them so bad because I wasn't there for that one thing. And 10 years from now, when they're off to college or whatever, it's going to come back to haunt me. But you know what? Kids are so resilient that they will understand later on. Mom, Dad, I know why you weren't there. I never even worried about that. That wasn't even on my thought. I know you were there in every other way that you could be there for me, and I love you.
Yes.
But we don't see that right now because we're dealing with that, that Superman or Superwoman idea that we have to have for our kids because we're that stronghold for them. I'm going to get teary-eyed thinking about this because it is hard. Like our kids see us in such an amazing way. Like we're superheroes. They really do. And so that invisible pain, I think as a parent, that is the biggest thing we deal with is disappointing our kids. And I had to learn that, like even with just, the idea of the perfect mom. Okay, because we've got Pinterest and we've got all of these social media sources where you have all these ideas of what being the perfect parent is, creating the perfect birthday party, creating the perfect meals, creating the perfect environment. And then you go and you try to do that and maybe you can't because of money, or you're just not, it's just not who you are naturally. You're not going to be that perfect mom, but then you see those things, or that perfect dad, but you see all this stuff out on social media and we feel like we can't ever measure up to that. But what I had to learn was all those perfect moments that you see online, it's one moment. It's not every day, all day. It's one moment. It's these people that are online somewhere putting out this persona of perfection that is unobtainable. We can't beat that. The best thing, perfection for us. And this is where getting rid of that pain, of not being good enough, not measuring up. This is where we kind of get to silence that voice a little bit, is we love our kids. We're there for them in every way that matters. It doesn't matter how many gifts you buy them, how perfect the party is. If you got that big blow up slide for their birthday, if you took them to the best place for a birthday party, if you invited 30 of their school classmates, none of that matters. And I had to get rid of all of that and kind of reassess how to do things. And, I tried to do the big birthday parties, but what I realized at the end of the day, my kids aren't going to remember that. What they're going to remember is mom and dad were there. Mom and dad loved them. Mom and dad gave them that happy birthday song and celebrated with them. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter about the 30 other kids that came. It's the family. It's being present in the moment for them. And so, yes, I still obviously very much so struggle with certain things when it comes to parenting, measuring up, being good enough, being enough, and dealing with those shortcomings. But at the same time, I'm like, but you know what? I know I'm doing the best that I can. And I know I love my kids. And my kids know that I love them.
Absolutely.
there's so much to all of this, but it's good conversation because these are a lot of things that are probably on people's minds that they don't talk about. They might with a therapist, they might with a handful of friends, but these are things that a lot, like, I know a lot of people that are really torn up by the way our society is. And fighting in their own way to try to make change or doing their best to make change. So it's, at least to me, there's a lot going on when asking what is our pain.
It's good.
Because it's not only adding in the fact of being a part of a family, be it being a father, a husband, a mother, a wife, an aunt, an uncle, a great aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, you know, there's a lot just in that alone that can cause us to have certain kinds of thoughts, be it good or invasive.
Wow.
Then you add in our community and then our society and the struggles and things that we see on the news, or have someone in our family member fall on hard times and realize how hard the system really is to work with. And there's so many facets to these levels of the word that you're using, pain. And I find it really enlightening to hear the different, to hear everybody's experience and their thought patterns and thought processes and stuff. But I'm also noticing a lot of us are very similar in the pains that are affecting us.
Wow. That's good.
And these different struggles and the things that are going on in our society that we know is messed up. And at times it feels like our hands are tied, and then we have to break it and keep on going.
Absolutely. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. We're gonna stay on this just a few more minutes and we're gonna move on to something different. But before we do that, Joseph, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning.
Joseph, asking a question.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Asking a question, man, and I want to hear from you. What is your invisible pain?
My invisible pain? My invisible pain. Well, maybe past decisions that I made that I have to live with, I guess. Yeah. But I really can't say that they're pain, I guess. Maybe resentment.
Okay.
But I can't count it as pain. In fact, I count it as strength or building blocks, something that helped me to become who I am. You know, I think if I had a chance to do some things over again, I probably would have made a different decision. But I'm not sure if I would have turned out the way I did if I go back and make, you know, some different decisions. So I'm not sure. I wouldn't call it pain. I don't know. I don't think I have. I have some resentment.
That's good. That's good.
Make sense?
It does. It does. Anybody else have anything else they want to say on this particular topic before we move on?
Yeah, I go a little deeper with that, man, because like right about now, I feel like John Q.
Wow.
Since I talked to Toya last night and heard what was going on, and it sort of sounded like identical with what's going on with my son. You know what I'm saying? And seeing that tyrannical parent has accomplices, and they're getting a kick out of it. They have an agenda.
Yeah.
And that agenda completely destroys that child. And these are adults. So you feel helpless, man. Like I said, I feel like John Q. I mean, on the outside looking in, y'all hear her pain, y'all hear my pain, y'all see me cry, but y'all just don't know how close. Y'all just don't know really how close some of these people are close to coming to having to deal with something in a way that they don't want to. I mean, I some of the things that I've done and that have gone through my mind, that if I went through with it, oh man, there'll be some bad consequences if I get caught, but I probably won't get caught. That's how bad I want to do it. Some people don't understand that pain. They don't understand that, we might wake up one morning and hear that Rico went down to Florida and destroyed some people. He must have really been fed up, but y'all don't really get it, how tired my hands feel. So now you hear Toya talking about it, and she see it, and she ain't even a father. Imagine being a father, and you got to go to court to do what a father should naturally have the right to do. That is so frustrating. I want to kill some people because I know what the agenda is, and I know what the purpose is. And I'm looking at these numbers. I'm looking at these prison rate numbers, and I'm looking at the black males just surpassing everybody when we such a small number. And I'm looking at her nephew and my son and knowing that they probably got a better chance of being one of them statistics. Based off of all of these things that's keeping me and preventing me from saving my son as a father, the only natural right that I should have. Oh, we can't let you know about what's going on with him in school because you ain't on the list. But I'm paying child support and I'm on the birth certificate and I did everything the system told me to do. And they telling me that you still can't be the daddy you supposed to be. In the meantime, your child is sitting around here being vulnerable, manipulated, neglected, and abused, taken advantage of and used as a pawn. Destroyed mentally. Like Toya said, writing like a 6-year-old at 16 and just completely lost. Don't know which way is up, trying to figure their way out, but ain't nobody putting no time into them to know what it takes in life to be resilient, to be rewarded when you do something right. I mean, man, I got so many invisible pains, trying to have relationships with my parents and still never being able to have that relationship, a normal relationship that a child would have with their mother and father. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm still in a situation now. I almost called my mom and dad a couple of days ago and told them just to let them know, look, man, I love y'all, but I accept the fact that we ain't gonna never be as close as the way we should be. But I just want y'all to know that I ain't got nothing against you. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all for bringing me into this world because that's pretty much the most that y'all did. So my invisible pain is seeing, elderly people and children, vulnerable people being manipulated and taken advantage of and abused, and nobody being able to know nothing in place to really save these people when we know that there can be things put in place to prevent this stuff. But it's all about money. That's one of my invisible pains. That's probably one of my biggest invisible pains. And that's just on the end of feeling helpless. But the other invisible pain is the guilty conscience.
Yeah.
I also have to reckon so much because of the way my conscience works, that I still find myself feeling guilty for things that I did in the past to other people. Secrets that I still have to live with, you know what I'm saying? And I made a deal with the creator that, you know what I'm saying, if it was meant for me to do this and get away with it, I'd deal with him if he allowed me to get away with it. And I got away with it, and I got the answer for these one day, but my conscience bothers me. Sometimes I see people and I know what I did to them.
Wow.
Sometimes they don't know I'm the one that did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think to myself, oh man, wow. I mean, how can I apologize for that? How can I make that up? Because it's hard for me to deal with the fact that I did some of these things in the past, my conscience, you know. So I mean, it's, you know, regrets, man, all these different things that, you know, when you start talking about invisible pain, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people do have invisible pain, but they get over it a lot easier. But me, it's hard for me because, like I said, I feel guilty about stuff that I did when I was young and foolish.
Yeah.
Some people might say, hey, you was young and foolish. We ain't thinking about that, but I still know the impact that it had. I may even notice the impact that it had in you subconsciously, and you don't even realize the change that it made in you.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Jay, you wanted to say something, brother? Talk to me.
I certainly did, and I'm on board with Rico and my good sister Toya with the T, because it's very hard and it's very painful when you're as Rico was saying, and this touches me close to home because I went to jail for this. I you know, when I got hurt from my car accident because I had child support and they looked at me as a neglected father, even though I was already paying child support. She took me to court for child support so she can get more. And she actually ended up getting less, and I was still paying it. But when I got hurt, I wasn't working. No one told the court system that I was working and stuff like that. So I went to jail for a month and a half.
Wow.
Before they even found out, oh, he was hurt, or let him out, because they thought that I was going to sue them because my leg busted open in the jail. Then they let me out, and then they said, okay, well, we'll do something else. Well, we get you on Social Security and things like that. But it's so difficult when, you know, you're trying to be the good father, as I was saying earlier. You're trying to be, like I said, Superman. You're trying to be the guy that your father or your dad, your donor, I'll say it that way, your donor wasn't. You try to be different. You try to be a different dude or a different person. And other people's decisions or other people's actions deter you or force you in a way to do things that are or make you want to, you know, do things that'll put you in jail for murder, if you will, or you know, getting, you know, doing drive-bys, as my good friend Toy with the T would say. It's difficult and it's painful and it's hurtful. But at the end of the day, like the young lady just said earlier, your kids, my children are older now. They're wise enough to know daddy loves you and daddy is there when he can be. Every time daddy gets a chance, he's there. Every time daddy has a dime, a nickel, he sends it. Why? Because I love you and because I want you to know that, you know what, there's somebody in this world. I know you have mom, and I know you have mom's family. I know you have your sister or your brother, whoever, but you have somebody who cares enough that he will lay down his life for you. And that's me. At the same time, when the people who knew about my father's situation knew how I wanted to be with my children, they used that against me to hurt me. Well, you can't see your kids unless you do this, or I'm not bringing your kids by, or you can't come through, or I need more child support because I see you going out with your new friend or now your wife and things like that, so you can give your kids more money. It's hurtful, and it's the system that continuously and you know, this is not a race thing, but it continuously, as I see it, continuously puts the black man down to keep us, you know, seen as the nemesis, if you will, or the evil one, the one who the deadbeat daddy who don't care about his kids, who doesn't want to do anything but cares about himself. That's painful and it's hurtful, and that is in itself is an invisible pain because you're trying your best to do right. You know, I'm saved. I'm trying to live right by God and please him. You're trying your best, but there's the adversary. There you go, Father. Thank you. The adversary is always trying to deframe you, if you will, or you seem less than, or seem like you're the worst person or the worst character that God has ever created. And that right there hurts to the point where, as a man, you know, a God-fearing man, I'm willing to do anything for my children. I'll lay down my life today for any one of them. However, the parents or the mom who knows these things, the mother who knows these things, uses that to my detriment at times. That is my invisible pain.
Wow. This thing is very deep, y'all. It's very deep, man. It's invisible pain, and we all walk around with them. We, like I said earlier, man, we all walk around with a certain level of invisible pains. Let me go back to the phone line. Shanavia, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm good. How y'all doing this morning?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Sis, we're digging deep into your heart this morning, and I want to know, what are your invisible pains?
Oh, okay. We doing therapy Tuesday today. All right. I like it. That's a good question. That's a really vulnerable question. Oh, let me think. There's so many. Because my invisible pains are like my deepest insecurities. So this is like, very transparent moment. The first one that comes to mind for me is probably like most people don't know how deep my abandonment issues go. And that is a daily struggle. I also like suffer to some degree from imposter syndrome. Like I just had my first like workshop. It was wonderful. It was great. And, you know, with all of these compliments that I got as to how beautiful it was and how healing that it was, I'm sitting back questioning, okay, are you telling me this because it really was? Are you telling me this like was it really that good? Like I'm questioning my my ability. And when it comes to like the abandonment, that was so deep for me. Like, you know, thank God for the healing process and where I am right now. But I would literally like I would look for projects, you know, in people. Like I wanted to fix someone because I didn't know how to fix me.
Wow.
And if I couldn't fix me, if I could fix someone else, and somehow that would help me fix myself, and then I get to keep, you know, the pretty face and the shield because of what I do as a career and my position in my family, they don't get to see that Navy ain't always strong. I'm always in the position of, well, Navy will figure it out. Navy got it, but Navy don't always have it. And Navy feels very alone sometimes, more than what they think. So y'all got me telling all my little tea, but that's it. That's all I'm giving y'all right now.
Good deal. Good deal. Let's go, Zamaria. I saw you nodding your head in approval. What's on your heart?
I mean, the finding projects, you know how many times and how many people, even my oldest daughter, as a matter of fact, will do this. She will find projects. She will find someone else to fix. I do it. I'll try to find someone else to fix. And Rico too. He's like, yeah, me too. You find someone else. And Jay, see, we all do it. We all do it. We try to find someone else to fix because we feel like if we can fix even just one part of that person, that somehow it's going to fix us, right? It's going to help us in some way, or we don't have to even deal with what we need to work on. We did that over there. That's a good thing we did. And it's, man, I don't know why we do it, you know? And I don't know. I maybe it's because we're so broken, and if we can help fix somebody else, then it helps to make us feel better about what's broken inside us, but we're not really fixing or acknowledging what's broken in us. We just want to make sure nobody else is broken. Oh, I can put that back together. I got the right remedy to fix that, but I don't have what's right to fix me because I don't know how to fix me. So, you know, I love Navy. I actually, you know, I don't know if she just deals with kids or not, but I told my husband the other day, I need to figure out if Navy works with adults too, or if she just works with kids, because I need her number. Her and I need to talk for real.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, she just gave me some free therapy then, man. I might have to send her a couple of bones.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, we're gonna stay here just a few more minutes, man. I didn't really intend on staying on this particular topic this long, but I think this is helping. And y'all just said it, man. Navy came in, man. She just, you know, man, look, she didn't even go to the batter's box, man. They just threw a ball in her direction and she knocked it out the pen from the bullpen. She just hit the ball and knocked it out the ball. Exactly. They didn't go up to the batter's box at all. But let me go to Joseph. Joseph, what's on your heart, brother? Joseph, you there? Joseph might have stepped away for a second. Jay, talk to me.
Yeah, again, this is all powerful stuff. And just like everyone else, I'm getting therapy today too, because again, just thinking about the things that has happened to me or that goes on in my life on a daily when it comes to my children, most importantly. My wife, my queen, is always here. Anything she needs, I'm gonna do my best to make sure. But when you can't get to your son who has your face, who looks like you, talks like you, acts like you, when you can't get to him and he's yelling and he's crying out for you, but you can't get there because there's a blockage in the way, whether that blockage be my pain, whether it be well, that's my pain too, his mother keeping it 100, or his family on his mother's side that lives in another state. They waited, and I was just sharing this with my wife after I got off, because this is a hot topic for me. They waited till after I got hurt to move out of state. So then, even though I'm dad and my children know me as dad, where you at, Dad? I'm graduating today. Where you at, Dad? My prime. Where you at, Dad? I'm playing basketball. I want to see you. I want you to see me play. But you live 5 hours away. And when it rains or when it snows, Dad is in so much pain where he can't stand up straight. But on the days that I can get there, they know. And that's why I do things like the Zoom calling. I talk to my children. They see me at least once a week, at least once or twice a week, all of them. And I have 7 children. But, like I said, there's blockage or there's barriers in the way. There's obstacles. Thank you, Father, that, I have to overcome. And one thing that I quote this scripture so much all the time when I'm in pain, when I'm going through a difficulty or whatever, his grace is truly sufficient for me. He's going to work it out. And where I'm weak, he's strong. So when I'm feeling weak, when I'm feeling hurt because I can't get there, his strength his strength makes me stronger because I can do the Zoom call. I can watch my daughter on our recitals that lives in Delaware. I can watch her when she has her ballet recitals because I can't get there late at night. It's cold, and when it gets cold, my bones are not conducive to me moving around. So again, his grace is sufficient for me. It's a struggle, but at the same token, I'm confident and I know that everything is going to be all right because my children, as they get older, they start to understand. And when we talk now, all my kids, I never lie to any of them. I tell them, listen, I wasn't there for this reason. I hurt myself because Daddy messed up. Be wiser than Daddy and don't do the same things I did.
Wow.
But that's my struggle.
Good deal. Captain, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning to you, Raheem, and to everyone in my family of the Morning Club.
Yes, sir. I'm asking a question. We're going to move on to another topic, but I want to get your take on this one right here, brother. What are your invisible pains?
Well, Brother Raheem, to be honest with you, I would like to keep that secret and buried.
Okay.
There's just some things that I think when it comes to me, I have to keep secret and definitely not going to share on this airway. I appreciate everyone who shared their invisible pain. I tip my hat off to you. And I pray to God that it would not become a pain no more, and it would not be a liability family no more, that it would become an asset. I want to say this too. I heard Sister T. In the Holy Quran, it says, Allah never lay upon a soul a burden that it has not the ability to bear. We all get to that stage of frustration with ourselves, with our family, and of course with humanity. We're getting ready tomorrow, go into Ramadan. Over 1 billion Muslims will be practicing this for the next 30 days. I'm excited because I'm crawling into Ramadan. And when you go into Ramadan, you're going in where you're going to not eat or drink nothing during the daylight hours. And in that 30 days, you read the Holy Quran completely through and you pray for 30 days. And then the only time you eat is when the sun sets, and then you wait till the next day. It's a cleansing. It helps me, family, to know that there are some things I can't handle. I got to put it on God. I got to lay it at his doorstep. The frustration that every one of you express, I have the same frustration. So I'm looking forward tomorrow to start the day of Ramadan. and get my mind back with God, because only God can judge me. Only God can change this reality. And if I put my life and my hands and my goals and my aspirations in his hand, I can't lose. I can't lose.
Yeah.
If I put it in man's hand, I'm in trouble.
Every time.
If I try to lean on my own understanding, I'm in trouble. Because I can't deal with it like everybody else is. I can be honest with you on that level. I need God in my life every second. Because if I don't, I'll be like Rico. You ain't the only one, Rico, that thinks the kind of thoughts that you think. Sister T, you're not the only one. We all have thoughts of things that we would like to do to whoever, to individuals, or sometimes maybe to ourselves. Man, I keep myself close to God.
Yeah.
That's what I have in my heart. Right?
Good deal. Good deal. Navy?
Yes, sir.
What's on your heart, sis? We're ready to transition over to our next topic, but I want to hear, you came in and you knocked it out the park, man, because we're going to end this particular topic with you. What's on your heart?
Oh, I don't know if I have anything else to add to it. Like, I don't know if Therapy Tuesday is a thing, but definitely feels like it today. So that's it. We can keep the train rolling. I don't know if I have anything else to add.
Good deal. Good deal.
Well, I did want to ask her one thing.
Go ahead.
Because, when you said that about the invisible pain, the first thing I thought about with Navy was the patients that she had that were children. She mentioned one time that having patients that were children and then realizing that the parents were the problem, but the parents were in denial and refusing to get that help, knowing that those children got to go back into that situation, and there's nothing she could do about it. I mean, I can't speak for her, but I can imagine being in her shoes that she probably sees a lot of instances, not just in her office, but just out and about in society, seeing different people interacting with their children and being able to identify behaviors and things that are probably worse out of her eyesight. So I wanted to ask her about that part of it, you know what I'm saying? Because she took us there with the personal thing, which I said that hit home with me. But, I wanted to ask her about the professional end of it, when she has that invisible pain on the professional side.
Navy?
Oh, for sure. And I'm also the type of person to where even if I am out in public, one of the gifts that I know that for whatever reason God has blessed me with is to be able to build relationship and rapport with people pretty quick. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, people just like, oh, you just have such an inviting face. And I'm like, okay, cool. So if I see something going on in public, like I have literally been able to walk over to the kid because, they were staring anyway, either they were playing with me a few aisles over. And, I'm allowed to kind of like intervene, and not in such a way of chastising the mom, the dad, or whoever that they're with in the store, like real life. Like, my mom will literally call and be like, hey, my neighbor got this situation going on. I was telling her about you. And before we know it, we're having a whole therapy session over the phone. Never even met you, but just because my mom knows you. But when it comes to those parents that come into my office, like, it does stick with me, and I'm always wondering, like, did I say enough? Did I do enough? And will this kid get the help that he or she deserves and needs? And more importantly, will this parent allow this child to get the help that they need and deserve, and get them some help as well? Like, I don't bite my tongue. If anybody that works with me, I don't bite my tongue when it comes to this healing thing, but I'm also very nurturing in it because I know it's gonna be some hard truths and some hard pills. And I tell my parents all the time, what I'm about to say to you is not an attack on your character. It's just going to be an uncomfortable truth for you. And sometimes, now the person that we were talking about a few months ago, I know which one you talking about, Rico, but I mean, she has made an appointment now for her kids, for them to start coming back, but she had to sit with that uncomfortable truth. Just like all of us, when somebody tell us something, as my grandma used to say, when somebody used to sit our soup outside the door, we don't like that. We don't want to hear that because we feel like it's a personal attack. But you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of us are carrying so much generational hurt. It's always been done this way. So this is the only way that I know to do it until somebody tells me something different, and then I feel attacked. And I got to sit with that for a minute, and I got to move my ego out of the way, because until I do that, I'm going to bleed not only on myself, but on my children and any and every offspring that comes after that. So yeah, I'm always pondering that.
Wow. Do you you work across the board, not just with kids, you work with adults as well, right?
I work with everyone from ages 6 on up to 106 and everything in between, with the exception of I'm not specialized yet to deal with the spectrum community, the autism spectrum community. I usually have to refer out for that, but I deal with everybody else though for the most part.
Okay. Zamari says she wanted your number, so if it's okay, I'm gonna pass your number on to her. Okay.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Okay. Zamari. Good.
Yeah, I'll text you, Navy, and that way you know it's me once I have your number, and then just let me know what works for you, because I really would love to work with you. I really would.
I'm gonna give you a heads up. She busy. She busy,
Oh.
man. She hot demand.
I can imagine she is, but just listening to her on here so many times. And like I said, I told my husband a couple of days back after she had mentioned something about we just mentioned it again on here. I think Rico mentioned it about how parents don't want to deal with, when she had said, when she goes at the parents and says, well, you're the problem. And, that was a gut punch for me. And it's like, I feel that though. Like I really do, like that, because our pain, our trauma, our life experiences, things that we've gone through in life. And I'm actually putting this in this story that I'm writing, this book that I'm working on, about how my choices or my experiences have trickled down to my kids and have affected my children. And I didn't mean for that to happen, but it absolutely has happened. And now I have to go back and dish out those heartfelt apologies, because I've created a damage in them that was completely unintentional. But if she can find the time, and I know you're busy, Navy, I know you are, but if you can find the time, I will pay you, but I would absolutely love to work with you.
Good deal. Ryan, I think Ryan's back on the line. Ryan, what's on your heart before we switch topics? Ryan, you there?
I don't even see him on the screen here.
No. He was on the phone lines.
Oh.
Ryan, are you there? He might have stepped away for a second. But I gotta play. Hey, Rico, where you at, brother?
All right, here.
I'm about to do something real nice for you, man.
Go ahead and do your thing, man. Get the groove on.
I'm about to do something real nice for you, bro. I got you. Look, knowing how you love this particular commercial, I'm gonna tell everybody, I'm gonna preface it by saying this right here. If in 3 days to be exact, if you're in and around the Atlanta, Georgia area, you need to make your way to this flashback party, 70s, 80s, and 90s music. It's actually a fundraiser, but we'll talk about that part later on. But if you're in this area and you want to come out and have a great time, you deserve it. You work hard all the time. Let's come out. Let's have a good time. Let's party together. This is our 70s, 80s, and 90s flashback. I would say it like I did in the commercial, but I ain't going to do it because that joke over there, Rico listening. But here you go, y'all. Check this out, and we'll be back with a totally different topic.
70s, 80s, and 90s flashback jam. Do you know how to party? Do you still have your boogie shoes? Sine Event Hall, 2308 Henry Cloud Boulevard, Snellville, Georgia. Get your tickets today.
Now I see y'all over there bouncing. The music in the background was good, wasn't it? Yeah, had y'all ready to do the cha-cha and all that, the two-step. Boy, y'all was ready to, man, look, y'all need to get to this party Friday. I'm telling you, man. I saw y'all moving. Y'all can't hide it.
You bring the cha-cha back, man?
70s, 80s, and 90s. We look at here, man. Look at y'all need to get to this party Friday, man. Starting at 8 o'clock. So y'all, you look at 8 o'clock to 12 midnight. You know, I know y'all you get a certain age, you can't stay out too late. So we're gonna shut it down about 12 o'clock. We'll shut it down.
We gotta go find some troops, some British night shoes.
Yes, sir.
Some Dexters.
Man, look here. I'm gonna give me some stacks, man. I'm walking in there with some stacks. I'm trying to find them right now. I found a place I can actually order them, man, but I don't know if they get here in time. Off Amazon, some stacks, man. I want some stacks with different colors on them. Y'all don't know nothing about that, man. But listen, we about to change the topic, and Zamari, I'm gonna start this one off with you. We're talking about schools and what they're teaching in schools. This particular topic right here could be a little sticky, but should schools teach children sex education, and if so, how far should they go with it?
Dude. Okay. So I believe, I could be mistaken. I always like to preface it with that. I could be wrong, but I believe at one point it was called health class. It was part of the health sciences in school. Yeah. And then they separated it and they just had sex ed. And sex ed, when I was in school anyway, I believe it was like not even a regular course that you took. It was 1 or 2 days of it. They talked over a couple of talking points, a couple of things, and that was it. And you still walked away with more questions than answers a lot of the time. Do I think they should teach it? I think yes, I do. And I'll tell you why. Because there are a lot of parents at home who do not have those talks because it's an uncomfortable topic. Yeah. Because they feel like if they even mention the word sex, that their kids are instantly going to go out and do it. Right? I have over the years and over time, I maybe not perfectly, right? But to the best of my abilities and age appropriate, of course, I have talked to my children about sex, about their bodies, about all of those things, right? To the best of my abilities. I'm very open with my kids because I understand if I don't tell them these things, somebody else is going to. And if I don't tell them these things, then they might go out and get themselves in a situation that is less than desirable for them. So I believe, yes, it should be taught. To what extent should it be taught? That's something else, because what's good for my kids might not be good for somebody else. Maybe maturity wise, they're not at that same place where they can handle the same type of information. And this is where we get into the one size fits all category, because when they're in a sex ed class, it's going to be one size fits all. That's how they teach. And it doesn't work like that.
Cookie cutter.
So very cookie cutter, right? And it's the same in all of the programs in school, math, history, all of that. It's all very cookie cutter. So that's kind of a sticky place, because I really don't know where you draw the line and where the line is crossed when it comes to that teaching.
Wow. Jay, what do you say to that, man? Should schools teach sex education? And if so, to what level? To what degree should they go?
Absolutely should teach it. Absolutely. 1,000,000% should teach it. Now, like the young lady just said, to what extent? Each and every one of us are different. Every man, woman, boy, and girl, we're all different. We all think differently. We all have our own expectations, if you will, about life, about whatever, based on how we were raised. Now, again, like her, when I was younger, they had health class. Health class, there was about a week where they would talk a lot, or a day or two. Like she said, they would talk about a lot of different things. They would ask, general questions, but they would show a lot of videos, which would leave the children or the students still with more questions. So then they would go home and ask mom or ask their buddies or ask someone older about those questions and not ask the teacher because maybe they feel uncomfortable. And then they get the wrong idea or they get a cookie cutter answer. They go out and they mess themselves up or find themselves in a bad situation. I think it absolutely should be taught. There should be, a separate class, or maybe just like they do with calculus, with history, with all those. There should be a certain curriculum that you have to take in order to graduate, because kids are being pregnant in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, because they, whatever their family circumstance is and situation is, they learned from. I learned, honestly and truly, I learned about sex. I mean, I had the sex ed class and all that, but I learned about sex from my uncles. Or male chauvinist people, from my brothers, from my cousins, who are all around my age, a little bit older, and they giving me all these superficial or made up ideas on what sex is, on how to go about and what to do and all these other things, which left me clueless for some time. Until I was old enough to really pick up a book and really research and find out for myself. I was living off of what cousin told me, what uncle told me, how good uncle told me I needed to do, or what I needed to say, how I needed to do things, which left me in a bad situation for a while until I got myself out of it. So it should definitely be taught, and not just for a week, not just for a day. It should be a whole semester, just like everything else in college. It should be taught very extensively. That's my opinion.
Good deal. Navy, what is your stance on this? Should it be taught? And if so, to what level?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm in agreement with everyone else, but the way that it was offered, to me, it was an elective that we, if you wanted to take it, you could, but it was it was through our health class. So, but there was portions in the health class, of course, whenever you talk about the anatomy, and then you get into the sex education part, and that was an elective for me. I want to say I was like in the 5th or 6th grade. And for those reasons, talking about sex, like Zamari said earlier, I don't know why it is that parents, we sometimes, I say we, like I'm a parent, but it's like we automatically think that if we start talking about it, then they're gonna go out and just start humping. Well, first of all, they probably already doing it anyway. Let's just start with that. Secondly,
did she say
don't
humping?
Let them know how to safely do it and give them the knowledge and the information, because that's why we had 2 girls that was pregnant in the 6th grade whenever I was coming up. When I walked across my high school graduation stage, we had 8 girls that were pregnant.
Wow.
So, when you don't have those conversations and they just having to learn about it from their peers who, Lord, we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing about nothing. And then, it just continues on the misinformation. And Lord, heaven forbid if we open up, like back in the day, for me, it was Marie Claire. That was the magazine that you went and got all your tips from, and still didn't know I didn't know what half that stuff was. But again, this ain't about me, but yes, it needs to be offered at least as an elective.
Wow. Toya, what do you say to that? Should it be taught? And if so, to what level?
Well, absolutely. I think it should be taught. I think the levels should go just like the levels of education. You teach trigonometry to a 5-year-old?
No.
Okay, then. Still need to be the same. Why we just can't start with the basics? A boy and a girl. This is your body part. This is their body part. When the age goes on, this is what you should start experiencing. Puberty. You may experience this. You may experience that. Boys might need to be in one class. Girls might need to be in another class. This is what you're going to start experiencing between 12 and 14. Cycle, And then when you talk about the boys, you might experience a little tingles in your Peter Whacker. And this is what it means. This is how you do it. And sometimes the girl's going to have a cycle, and what they do, and they can get pregnant. How to get pregnant. Well, we carry that up in 10th grade. Right now, we're in 6th grade. We're just going to talk about the basics of the body. Like
Mm-hmm.
do it like everything else. Do we teach second graders chemistry? Do we teach them biology? No, we teach it in steps and in phases, and bodies go in steps and in phases too. So why don't we just have those conversations? You know what I'm saying? Now, I think some conversations are not meant for school.
Mm-hmm.
Some conversations are meant just to teach you the educational portion of it. And then some of us at home need to be educating our kids on certain things. Like for me, I talk with all my nieces and nephews about sex. Don't have it. And I need you to research with a Coke bottle and a hanger do. And all of them was over 20. All of them was over 21 years of age before they started having kids. I'm just playing. But no, I'm for real. Like we had conversations about boys, girls getting married, not having sex. Do you see what your mama and daddy went through without having a father there? Do you see the struggle? Like I had the conversations of where they are, you know what I'm saying, in our family, right? Not the non-realistic ones that we don't see. I help them to look at, you see what your mama is with no daddy? Do you see how you feel with having multiple fathers? Do you want your kids to feel like that? We're not going to, no kids till 35. What are you doing? Who are you talking to? What your girlfriend name is? I need to meet her. See, all of those interactions make a difference. Even as a manager, I'm telling your parents, if you're working for me at 16, I don't do boyfriends. I don't do babies, right? So when your child comes to me, we're going to be having these conversations and I'm going to be involved in these all the time. Who's this boy? Who's this girl? What y'all doing? Where y'all going? How y'all going there? You understand what I'm saying? And I think when you become more involved with that, right? It's more than just giving me a book of education saying you got a penis, you got a cootie, don't do, you know what I'm saying? Like we have to be real. All of us probably had sex at 16, 17, and then you turn around and you don't want your kid to do that, but you did it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we can't run from life, but what you can do is educate you on the values that you need to make sure that you're successful. And I think that's where we drop the ball at, because we're so busy trying to get our kids to not do things, to not do the same things that we did, but we don't want to give them the tools that they need to be absolutely successful, to stay out of those, you know what I'm saying, arenas. Like you don't want your kid to have sex, but you leave them home all day. You work 3 jobs and there's nobody home to make sure, you know, they don't have sex. And they're 16 walking around with other 16-year-olds. Come on with the jokes. You know what I'm saying? So I think that sometimes in life, we want to dictate things to our kids, even though we did it, but we don't have all of the proper tools, and we do not provide them with all of the proper tools necessary for 1, to comprehend it, 2, to execute it, and 3, to recover from it if they get into that situation.
Wow, that's good. Rico, talk to me, and that's good. And I got another direction I'm gonna go in a few minutes, but right now, Rico, what do you say to that, man? Should schools teach sex education, and if so, to what level?
Yeah, it's steps to it. You know, first off, sometimes you have to teach them their organs. You know, I was telling you about the little boy that didn't even know how to hold his own little thing when he had to use the restroom. People going everywhere. Only thing he could do was pull his pants down and just stand there and let it do what it do. I had to teach him, you know what I'm saying, look, man, hold it. It's yours. But I realized then that his mama didn't have it in him.
Yeah.
In her to teach him that. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes children get introduced to that now. Oh my goodness, I got introduced to it way before I even got a chance to get to school.
Yep, exactly. Me too.
Hustler and Penthouse and all of my daddy's friends, they was my teachers. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I'm saying? I walked in on mom and dad, and when I first started sleeping in the bed on my own, I was used to sleeping in the bed with them. You know what I'm saying? And the first time they put me in the bed on my own, and I got to where I would wake up before they would wake me up, I'm like, man, what they doing? I'm going in here getting in the bed with them. And I saw something real strange, but I didn't like what I seen. But get out my mama! Get out my mama!
What you doing?
They laughed at me, but after a while I realized that they were having fun. They liked it. I was like, oh, that what they do when they have fun?
I ain't never seen that game before.
Why in these magazines these women keep pointing to these certain places? That might be something I need to touch on. figuring it out.
Yeah.
And your friends. But see, sometimes, like if you get in school in a good structured setting, somebody could put you in place because you might already be aware a little bit. So they could tell you this is the name for it. This is urine. This is, I mean, you know, they could teach you the health and hygiene part of it. Why you should bathe. And as you get to certain ages, like Toya said, when you start having puberty, you know, sometimes people go through puberty a little early. You can start introducing it maybe about 10 years old and counseling it at the same time, you know, because it does, you know, we know the human body. We know the human experience enough by now to know that at certain ages, children will be introduced automatically to certain things that if they don't get into it by outside, introduced into it by outside influences, they will internally start or naturally start getting these other urges. Because you can shield a child from a lot of that stuff, be very overprotective.
Yeah.
And not let them watch anything but G-rated movies, no Disney cartoons.
Yep.
Because they might see some little funny, strange things in them Disney cartoons too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can shield them from all those different things. I don't let my children get on YouTube and no social media. I keep them on physical things and reading books and coloring and this and that. You can keep them from that. But sooner or later, they're going to meet other people that's going to say things to them like I did to my cousin. You know, I introduced my older cousin. I had to teach him what the deal was. And I can remember, ooh, you going to get in trouble. You ain't supposed to be saying that. I'm like, man, you ain't did this yet. You ain't did that yet. I was putting him on game. I was like in the 4th grade, 3rd grade.
Wow.
Putting him on game, and he wasn't ready for it. And he had problems with women later on in life. But that was still because of the fact that he didn't have a man or anybody to let him know of the things that he was going to experience over life. You know, sometimes boys find out the wrong way about things. Sometimes girls find out the wrong way. They get introduced to it from the wrong people. It's toxic. It's dysfunctional. And so, you know, I think schools can fill in those gaps if the curriculum is correct. Yeah. I don't think you should be introducing sexuality. I don't think you should be talking about no trans and drag and this and that, but at least let people know what the function of the sex organs do and leave it at that.
Good deal.
This produces sperm, produces the eggs. This is the uterus, all the reproductive. Introduce all that, and people will soon use logic to understand what the purpose of those organs are, because they ain't meant to not do those things. They're unique and special. So the school, that's what education is for. Teach what those organs are made for, the logical part of it, and the rest of it should fall in place.
Good deal. We're gonna keep this thing flowing. Cap, you up next. Cap, what's on your heart? Should schools teach sex education? And if so, if your answer is yes, to what level?
No, I gotta disagree with everybody on this panel about should a school teach sex education. I'm very cautious, and only because maybe in the nation I didn't send my children to a public school. My children went to the University of Islam. We separate the boys and the girls. They taught separately. The girls come at a certain time of the day and the boys come at a certain time of the day. I think sex education is something that should start with the parents at home, who can teach better your children than you. If you go to the public school and out of public school to teach your children sex from their modern day perverted minds today, the sex education today is not the sex education 50 years ago or 25 years ago when I was in school. Sex education was not taught the way that everybody was taught from health. It was taught from biology. It makes sense. Show people the anatomy of the human body. That's biology. If you talk about health, that's the way we taught it. We didn't get into all that, what you use it for and how you put it in all that. We didn't. That's when I grew up in school. I mean, but today, I mean, it's not the same. Y'all know it's not the same. You allow some curriculum to teach your children now about transgender, and they add that too. And I mean, come on, man, teach your own babies. You can't trust your children into hands of people who have a perverted mind or perverted curriculum. No. I'm better to teach my son sex education. My wife is better to teach their children sex education.
Mm-hmm.
When I grew up, I had a wet dream. I didn't know what it was. I'm coming into puberty. All I knew is that my pants were stuck to my leg.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared. I ran in the room, told my mom I didn't know what was happening. She said, "Go see your daddy." Well, she knew I didn't know what was going on. I went over to my father. He laughed. He said, son, you ain't shooting blanks no more. I didn't know what he meant.
Yeah.
You shoot live rounds. Let me tell you what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Pops, and today y'all gonna talk about school. That school ain't got nothing on social media. 11-year-old, the 10-year-old, he can pull up porn. Not the kind of porn, Rico, where you got your hustler book up underneath the bed. Not those kind. That's old school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about live.
Yeah.
And these kids are pulling this porn up and they looking at sex from a perverted view. They looking at all. They go on that line, man. They can see everything you can think. 666 different ways. Every sick thing. And this is what these kids. So you talking about going to school and learning sex education. Man, that's lightweight. They already know sex education.
Yeah.
They already know it.
Wow.
They get it on social media. So today, my attitude, no, teach your own children. You are better teaching your children about sex than some teacher, some curriculum that adding something in that disagrees with you. What about telling the kids to be celibate? Where God at in the picture? What about you don't have sex until you get married? How come that's not pushed today? Christians, Muslims. Oh, that ain't in the school? Oh, you can't have religion in the school. Well, what school do I want to send my children where God is not involved? I ain't sending my children no school where God, in the Islamic world, God is the head of the teaching. He is the head of knowledge. Why? Because if you teach your children moral confidence, if you teach them a moral way, they may stray. But at least in their mind, they're taught right. They're taught it's not right to have it until you give it. Now they're going to sneak and do it. Every child going to do it. But what's wrong putting it in their head morally? That's where we stand. We need a moral curriculum, not the kind of curriculum that you see today. These sick psychologists, the doctor is sick as his patient.
Wow.
He just as sick as his patient.
Mm-hmm.
Psychology. What kind of psychology? A sick psychiatrist, he's just as sick as his patient.
Mm-hmm.
No, this world today, you your best teacher. Parents, you teach your own children today. You go ahead and put them in the head of somebody else you want to, and watch how they come back home to you.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how they come back home to you. Do your job. Don't fail in your responsibility, teacher. Mother is the first teacher of life. The mother in the home, she is the first teacher. Nobody can teach better than mama.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can teach better. And if they got a single parent, like Rico said, yeah, uncle, he got to step up to the, come here, young man. If a man don't even know how to hold his thing, he don't know how to clean himself. He don't know how to wipe his own behind. In the nation, we're training the man how to wipe your behind.
Mm-hmm.
You say, well, I don't even know how. Shoot. Ask some of these grown ass men that got to pull their pants down, look like tobacco road. Huh? Don't even know how to clean your own self. These are things that you have to teach separate, not with women in the same room. You don't teach sex education and the men look at the girl is giggling. You don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You keep the two species separate because there's an attraction there, a natural attraction. And we got to know the nature. So you don't have to teach sex. They just turn on a nature movie and watch the lions and elephants and all that. Watch them. Watch the dog. You see a dog. Do you see sex education when you see them two dogs stuck together? I used to thought they were stuck together because the hair stuck them together. I didn't know why they were stuck together. But we know now, nature.
Good deal. Good deal.
So we don't have to teach. I'm sorry. That's what's on my mind right now.
Good deal. Good deal. Joseph?
Wow, man. That captain laid down a whole lot of good information, man. And Toya as well, man. I like her her position, man, she talked about the various stages and ages. You know, we can't teach a third grader or first grader algebra, so we have to do it in stages. I like that. And then I like also she was talking about the family. You know, how do we make the family, and would that child want to grow up and have a family exactly like the family that that child is in? So the challenge, that there's a challenge to for the child to at that age group, and I guess that'll be probably, you know, get into high school where, you know, the question is asked, you know, hey, look, this is what happens when you engage in intercourse, and are you ready for a family? And if so, are you going to repeat what you came out of if you're in a single parent environment, you know, or would you like for your child to come up in a better life? So I like what Toya with a T said about that. She was inside my thought pattern. And but you know, Cap hit the nail on the head too, because in this country, unfortunately, everything is politicized, and in some cases weaponized, because you know you have one group that want to remain the dominant group, and so they want to control the curriculum, control the education, but a lot of people or a lot of children are not being developed properly, or not given that information early on. And so we have this inequality that's going on in our society, but I think it's by design, you know, because we could fix it, we could tweak it, you know. And then and somebody said something else, man. There are some classes that girls need to take separate from boys, you know, just like Cap said, you know how we boys be at an early age, man. We'd be laughing at everything, and make the girls feel uncomfortable, and they feel like, you know, that is irrelevant information, but it is relevant information. And I think when we separate the genders like that, you know, we can have those conversations. But I'm again with Cap, man, some of the stuff they teaching, man, about, you know, same-sex, you know, relationships and things like that. I'm not sure if the I'm not sure about how that is being approached. Okay, and I'm not sure if there's some force that's trying to normalize it, and if so, then who's gonna go off and fight the wars for the country if we don't have balanced people to do it?
Wow.
I mean, but there again, it's weaponized, and you know, the way we do an education in this country, it's not for the good of all Americans. It's not. It never has been, but you know, yeah. But that's where I'm at.
Good deal. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Should they teach sex education? And we're talking about, and welcome TikTok, we're talking about should they teach sex education in schools and public schools? We're talking about public schools, and if so, to what level?
I don't think they should teach sex education in school without some kind of psychological teaching to go with it. To teach the effects, the way it can affect the mind, the possible stress, the connection, the way it works. Because sex ed is supposed to be about the biological functionality of the body and how they interact. But I don't remember them teaching how the brain reacts, or the psychological part of it, how it can become addictive because of the hormones that get put out there. I don't remember them teaching any of that stuff. I remember them just teaching the basic of where to put it and the process of what a woman goes through during childbirth and things like that. But I would have loved to have known the psychological effects of those kinds of things. But once again, it's mental health. Do they actually want to spend the money on teaching that?
Wow.
So I mean, yes, it's something I feel is important to learn, but if we're going to teach it, we got to teach the whole spectrum of it, in my opinion.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Ryan, are you back with us? Ryan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here dealing with an issue, but I'm here.
Okay. What is your take on this, man? Should they teach sex education in school, quote unquote, public schools, and if so, to what level?
One more time.
Should they teach sex education in school and in public school, and if so, to what level?
So I have a teacher, or an ex-teacher that works here for me. He used to teach in Detroit Public Schools. And I don't know if I'm going the right way with this, because for some reason I couldn't hear the first part of what you said. But I'm gonna roll with it.
Okay, let me say it again. I want to make sure you're clear, brother. Want to make sure you're clear. Should they teach sex education in school, and if so, to what?
That's what I missed.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that sexual education is a no, but health class, yes. You don't, like, if you're involved in reading news articles and things like I am, digging deeper than the surface, you'll notice that the things that they're teaching in school under the guise of sexual education has nothing to do with the sexual education that we received as youngins. They're teaching kids about masturbation. They're teaching kids self-pleasure. They're teaching kids, sexual acts. We'll keep it clean. And then they're pushing that agenda, that trans ABCDEFG narrative. So I think they've taken it from a sexual education and turned it into agenda education. They changed it into subliminal messaging education. And I don't think that it should be allowed in schools. And if they're going to continue, us as parents should be allowed to say no and not catch the repercussions that I'm starting to see parents get when they do say no. They should be telling us. They should be sending home letterheads. There was a big thing with COVID where if you sent your kids to school, the teachers had a letter, and I've seen it with my own two eyes, where it said, hey, if you're afraid of this, we can give you this shot. You just don't have to tell your parents.
Wow.
Like, what? What planet is this? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. We need, as parents, we need to be attending these school board meetings and basically voicing what our opinions are and holding these people accountable, because they get away with too much for far too long.
Wow. That's good. That's good. Leonard, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow family.
I gotta hear your heart on this, brother. What do you say about this, man? Because you was in education for a while as well. So should they teach sex education in school and in public school? And if so, to what level?
They should teach biology and reproductive science. That's what they should teach. Period. Nothing more, nothing less. And every decent parent needs to be against the agenda that they're pushing on children.
Wow.
You don't teach pleasure to children. That needs to go away. And also there are things that are done in my county which sort of speaks to that, while they'll send letters out. So if you do not want your child to participate in that particular part of the class, then they don't have to, and you can take them out. But they used to make you very aware of when it's being taught and whether or not you want to take your kids out at that time. Because trust me, this hasn't It's not the big deal that people want it to be. It's necessary for reproduction. That's how you teach it. Like my mother said, you know, I'm gonna teach you what's right. You learn wrong on your own, but I'm gonna teach you what's right.
Now you said that you categorize them a little differently. What's the two different categories that you said they should teach this in comparison to what now?
If you teach it from a biological perspective, it is reproductive science, and you just don't teach it about human beings. You relate it and you teach it as a science of all reproduction on all living creatures, just like you would teach it about how plants reproduce.
Okay, that's good. That's good. But let me ask you this question, and I'm the question asker, and a lot of y'all know where my heart is on this. But if you're teaching it in that way, is that or could certain communities take it that you're leaving them out, like LGBTQ, or you know, I don't want to be disrespectful to their title, but can they take it that you're eliminating them from the whole equation? And how do you feel about
that? They can take it and jump off a bridge, as far as I'm concerned.
I knew it.
I mean, I don't. Man, come on, really?
I knew you was gonna go. Yeah.
Who here ain't done it before? It ain't that complicated, unless you make it complicated. You need to learn how to protect yourself and those types of things. But all that preference and all that other crap needs to be taught somewhere else. You know, you need to teach kids about people touching their bodies. See, this is taught much earlier, before you get to like middle school. Because when you start dealing with people outside of your home, you know, that's why they really want that child to be potty trained and everything when they come to school.
Yeah.
Because you don't want this perception or things to be happening to them that they don't understand. And you know, it's not something, I think I've seen a note, but you can't just say, you know, let's teach them what don't feel comfortable. No. You tell them what should not happen. Not about how they feel about it. You teach them what should not happen.
That's good.
Because there is an agenda by sick individuals to sexualize your children. And you better come to understand it, and you better fight against it. I don't care who gay, and that's not my, but as far as I'm concerned, be as gay as you want. But you don't teach it to children.
That's good. That's good. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, I gotta hear your heart on this. Should sex education be taught in school, quote unquote, public schools? And if so, to what level?
Yeah, I think that it should be taught. I'm with Toya as far as how it should be taught, depending on the age of the child, because because there are parents that will never talk about it at home.
Yeah.
So this is why we have children not understanding their bodies, not understanding, you know, what's going on, what's normal, what's abnormal. They have no idea, and unless they're taught, they're not going to know. So I think that the schools can start, and I'm with Leonard on a lot of that part as well. It should be a limited talk that you do. And then the parent, you need to send, when I was in school, they actually sent a letter home when they were preparing to teach on reproduction. They sent a letter home to the parent saying, hey, next week we're going to be covering, you know, you have the right to tell us if you want your child to attend this class or not. So our parents had options as to whether they wanted us to hear it or not. So it's a whole new thing now. And just really quickly, I want to mention a video that I saw last night, and it was a group of I'll call them millennials, a group of young people, and some of them were teachers, a few of them were doctors. They were in different professions, white, black, all different races, gay, straight, and there was a young man. He looked like he was about 23, 24. That was gay. He was, you know, he had the red lipstick on, and you know, the makeup, and he said that he was a first-year teacher, and the first day he had 25 students in his class, and the next day, I think 6 of the parents had pulled their children out of the class, and he said without even hearing from him, well, those parents had the right that if they want to take their children out of that class, to pull their children out of that class. Those parents that don't mind, don't care, then you leave your children in the class. It's a decision that parents need to make when it comes to sexualization of their children. It's how you decide how that should go. No one else.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. And I got to do this. I see my mom. She's tuned in with us. I got to say good morning, Mama. Love you dearly, baby. You know I got to do your morning shout out. If I don't, you're gonna get on me, and I'm not having that. Let me go to Willow.
Good morning, Raheem. Good morning, Morning Glow.
Good morning, Willow. I need to hear your heart now. Should they teach sex education in school, public schools, and if so, to what level?
I definitely agree with Leonard because, you know, we call it sex education, but it's a reproduction system, and it was done in our health class. And I do think that they need to teach it because it educates our children on their bodies and how their bodies react, and introduce all the different diseases that can happen. You know, so the professionals should teach that part of our reproduction system, and as y'all call it, sex education.
Mm-hmm.
But I also agree that parents should be involved. Just like Ms. Cassandra said, they used to send letters out letting us know that they were going to teach that in class, in health class, because we called it was health class during the time when I was going to school.
Yeah.
And that way, if a parent wants to get involved with wanting to help the teacher to get them to understand what they're about to hear, you know, just like math or anything else, we're supposed to help our children.
Yes.
It just shouldn't be on the teacher. It should also be on us as parents. But I think that the professionals should do it because, see, what we're looking at, we are looking at something different. We're looking at the action. I'm not looking at the action. I'm looking at the root of it, the production. What does the vagina do? What does the penis do? What is the reaction? And then everything else is going off of somebody's decision. You know what I'm saying, Raheem? So yeah, I do agree.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is the key. And maybe, just maybe, if kids were well educated, then they would understand their reproduction system. And that's what's on my heart, Raheem.
Good deal. Good deal. Paul, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. How are you guys doing?
Hey, doing good, brother. Talk to me. What's on your heart?
I think I have an unpopular opinion. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where I stand on teaching about gay stuff like that, but I mean, I get how people don't want teachers who have an agenda, like the ones who say, let's focus on your pronouns, or let's focus on, you're a little different, so maybe you're not actually a boy, maybe you're a girl, and like those activists, like those, they have a real political agenda. I get that, but
Paul,
I don't know. I'm just curious what
is it the
people
schools?
think about.
Is it the school? Paul, let me say, Paul.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question.
What?
I'm just asking because I'm the question asker, brother. But I need to ask you this question: is it the school's position to give any one of the students their identity or how they identify?
No.
Because that's what I'm hearing you say right now.
I'm opposed to that.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm opposed to that. Yeah. So, but I mean, look, I've been in this career for about 25, 26 years. So I've seen things change a little bit. And I think some of the things are better now. I think when I first started, if a student even mentioned the word gay, it'd be like, it would be a gasp in the class. And like things like, they would say like, that's, they would use the word gay to say, as an insult, or they would say that other slur that starts with an F
and
ends with a T.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really harmful because we all know that gay people have a very high rate of depression, suicide, and all these other bad things. So, and part of the reason I think is because of how society views people who are a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we do need to, like, in my opinion, I think we do need to be able to talk about it to some degree, just to say, hey, we don't use that language in this classroom. We do not call people gay as an insult. Gay people exist. Look, last year I had a student bullying another student because her mom was a lesbian. Mm-hmm. And in the past it would have been really awkward for me to even talk about that, but now, because society has changed to some degree, now it's easier for me. I don't get into details about sexual practices or anything like that, but I think the fact that we're a little more open, I think it's good. I don't know how people feel about that though.
Okay, Rico, I saw your hand up, brother. What's on your heart?
Yeah, I think there is a way to introduce that topic, but it wouldn't even have to really be with the sexuality thing. That could just be with a respect and decency thing, common courtesy thing of how you treat people, morals and good deeds. You can encourage that atmosphere in certain classes to where they know not to treat everybody or to treat people differently because they may be handicapped.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different ways you could prevent discrimination. Just throw LGBTQ in there with it. Maybe you could teach them to not discriminate against Black people. You get what I'm saying? That can all be tied into that class. It doesn't have to be tied into sex education, because along with what Leonard said, I agree. It's all about sexual health and sexual reproduction. You know how many little girls I can remember when I was in school, and then little girls that I hear of now have their first period in school and they wasn't prepared. They didn't realize that this was about that age frame that you would have to worry about that. And guess what? Mama should have been prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So, like what Captain D is saying, it's true. It has evolved. These children are exposed to stuff in Disney cartoons and YouTube and internet. They can make a choice on what they want to punch in to go and pick up the wrong type of education or information. But see, the school can counter that, because sometimes these hypersex children get it from their mama. Their mama playing the music. I don't see nothing wrong with WAP. It's just music.
Wow.
See, mama's supposed to be the educator, but then it takes a responsible, certified health educator to come in and teach you about reproduction and sexual health and sexually transmitted diseases and the consequences. And then when you get to the certain age where it's possible for you to become pregnant, now let's start talking about preventing pregnancies, responsibility. Let's start having teen involvement classes, personal development classes that can teach you the responsibility of nuclear families, the process. You get what I'm saying? And it's still not teaching you sexuality, but it's actually teaching you responsibility for your body, so you don't have so many teen moms and teen mom TV shows. The responsibility of personal development, if you do happen to be a teen mom, the responsibilities that will come with that. Oh, you can get that in school. See, the school education from a certified professional, such as a health department person that works from the health department that goes into the school or something like that, they would actually be able to give you correct information. But at the same time, they don't have to entertain you with what your preference is.
Let me ask you this question, Rico. Then we're going to Navy, you up next. Navy, you up next. Is the school the proper environment? Do you think the schools is the proper environment to teach sex education to a elementary level child?
Once again, it goes to levels. And if it's basic, it's basic. I don't know if you really want to start at elementary school. With that, hopefully you have something going on at home to where, like Leonard said, they're already potty trained before they go, so that they don't have to worry about that. But there should be some type of class where somebody is actually teaching children where not to be touched, because it might be the parent doing the inappropriate touching.
Mm-hmm. And let me say, me being transparent a little bit here, I think elementary school would be the right, like y'all said, if done properly, because my first sexual experience, I was in elementary school, man. I was in elementary school. I was, very young in elementary school, and I'm out here, think I'm doing something. Didn't know what I was doing, didn't have any idea what I was doing, but I thought I was doing something in elementary school, man. So if we don't catch them early and at least pour something in them, I think that we may miss them.
I agree. I think you do need to catch them early. And once again, even though you thought you was doing something, you weren't doing nothing.
No.
For a certain length of time.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I wasn't doing that.
There could be some introductions and inappropriate introductions at that, and touching from wrong people that they need to be made aware of, because the parents may not be. I mean, look, we live in this society right now where you got to have so many different sources of income that parents aren't able to. I mean, we come from a latchkey child society.
Yeah.
That has all kind of exposure to outside influences. So really and truly, these parents that we're really depending on to focus on these things, they missing it. They dropping the ball, and we see it. Society is showing it every day that the parents aren't teaching these children what they should sexually. So I feel like the schools could not only reinforce positive education, but it can counter the negative influences that they've been receiving, because you do have to have that awareness to know, wait a minute, they ain't supposed to be getting touched right there.
That's good. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. That's the phone number. What we're talking about today. And welcome everybody. This is the Morning Glow. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What we're talking about today, we're talking about, should sex education be taught in schools? And if so, to what level? Navy, what's on your heart? Cap, you up next.
I honestly don't know if I have anything additional to add, other than, everybody has made great and valid points, whether you're on whatever side of it. But like I said, for me, it was offered to us in the 5th grade as an elective, so therefore we didn't have to take it, and it was a health class. It wasn't like, y'all talking about like, oh, the pleasure and stuff like that. Like, we didn't really get that. We just had the basic understanding of, your body, the anatomy of your body, the biology of your body. I do like what Badger said though, with the mental health side of it, because, we are a pleasure-seeking society. And, of course, come along with that, we don't understand, that part of what we're dealing with when we have sex irresponsibly, to some degree, is how that plays on your mental health and all of that good stuff. The only thing that I would add about on the elementary level, and I don't know what, because when I think elementary, I'm thinking like kindergarten, first, second, third grade, and things of that nature. I don't necessarily think that it should be taught on that level, but what I will say is that the correct anatomy, because we tend to use code words like, for example, pecker or cookie or weenie or something like that. And the only reason why I feel so strongly about this is because working with the Child Advocacy Center, having to sit in front of a grand jury, and your child someone was let go that clearly touched the child inappropriately because they referred to, their vagina as a cookie, and said that Uncle such and such touched my cookie. And to the grand jury, like, for me, it, like I said, the grand jury looked at that as, oh, well, we don't know if he really did touch a cookie or her cookie, because she didn't understand how to use the correct analogy. So for me, just on that level, that is why I would say to teach your children the correct anatomy. What their no-no spots are, their no-no box. Like, there was a whole song that we created about, your no-no spot. These are your no-no zones. Because whenever you send a kid into for a forensic interview, and they're not able to do that, then it hurts the case, and it's to no fault of their own. But because when it comes to this topic of sex and the sexual anatomy and all of that good stuff, I'm not saying like just go guns blazing, but we water it down so much, and because we are so afraid to have the conversation with the parents, so we leave it up to the school. But again, I agree with everyone thus far has said, leave it up to a professional, because it was our health teacher, and we had people coming in from our local clinics giving us this information on the anatomy. Like something as simple as a lady having a cycle. Do you not know how many girls, like, I thought that it was like a disgusting thing for us to have it, because, you know, until I was like, oh, this is normal. This isn't something that, you know, that doesn't mean that this person is abnormal because this is happening to them. So it's just basic knowledge that we need. Let's get to the basics first before we go into, you know, what do you are, your pronouns and stuff like that, because I was just like, oh, okay, this is a new sex education, but let's just get the basic stuff first.
Yeah, exactly. Cap, what's on your heart? Zamari, coming to you next. Cap, let me ask you this question. Do you think in some situations, parents, because of their uncomfort in talking about sex, want the school to teach and push that part of responsibility onto the school system?
I mean, you know, Raheem, there's going to be I think a small percentage of parents who may feel uncomfortable talking sex with their children. I'm not going to say that does not exist, but to hand over your responsibility to a curriculum or to a agenda that has changed. Everybody on here have agreed that it ain't what it used to be. I'm not going to act like that the transgender or the gay community, I mean, they exist. They really exist, and they're fighting for the right to exist, and that's okay. That's good. I like what Rico said. It should be. I think it was Rico. Yeah, I mean, don't add to teach a person's change of identity. Don't put it in the same group of sex. Don't put it in the same group of put it with the proper handling of people. But if you put it in the same group of sex, then you bring in a behavior that you don't want your child to come home and say to you, you know, I like my girlfriend. I want to marry her, Mom. And she just say, you looking at what you, because the school has taught a curriculum that made that child feel it's okay. And it's not okay to a man like myself or people or Christians who are morally find that very offensive. So I do think that there are some parents that find it uncomfortable. But listen, man, I mean, you know, we on here with maturity. I'm 69 years old. For those, when you talk about the 70s was my music. I love the 70s.
Yes, sir.
But the truth of the matter is, they didn't teach it. I like what everybody, they taught biology and health. So don't get it twisted. Everybody agrees. Like Leonard, teach biology. If you teach biology, it teach you about nature. Everything in nature has to reproduce itself. That makes sense. And this is how the human being reproduces itself. I was taught that, and I was taught that coming in my training 18 years ago when I was 18 in the nation. That man emitted 500 million sperms, and the sperms go, and the woman has a fallopian tube, and the woman can only produce an egg every so many days, and then at the egg she's fertile, But they taught it with wisdom. They taught it with wisdom, so you are not seeing it like some sexual thing. You're looking at it like, wow, man, I was in that 500 million sperm fighting, that I had to fight to get to the egg, and only one made it to the egg out of 500 million. And I was one of the 5. Goodly movie. I must be special. That's how you teach it. But if you don't teach it with wisdom, if you don't put God in it, then you make it perverted. So all I'm saying is, where's the God factor? Let me say this. You know, when you teach young black men, how you gonna teach them sex education when they don't even know who they are? They just had St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yes.
They turned the water green in Chicago. Did you know that?
Yes.
Every year they turn the river green, right? Every Irish human being was proud to be Irish. There was no question with the Irish child who they are in their history. But what about the black child? What do you know about it? You give us Juneteenth. What color would you turn that water for us? Red, black, and green? Or maybe turn the water black? What is our contribution? What we know? See, people on this line do not understand that most of these young black people don't know who they are. They don't know they were because they was taught a European curriculum most of the time they was in school. Most of the time they was taught a European curriculum. I learned more about Europeans than I learned about myself. So now you want to give me sex education, but you don't want to teach me who I am. So I could be responsible as a human being and recognize my humanity, but you're going to teach me? No, that's like teaching a savage. We don't know. So I think we have to understand that the training and the teaching of the curriculum in the school does not fit us. That's why most of the schools now are going to charter schools.
Yeah.
People are pulling their kids out of the public schools. The public schools is dangerous. You go to public school, you got to get searched. You go to public school, you have a more likely that a bad shooter will come and shoot up everyone. You go to public schools are dangerous these days. So people are coming out of the public schools and going into charter schools. And I like the fact, what's wrong with the parents being given a letter? Said this week we're going to teach. I like that. I like that. I think that makes sense because you have to include the parent. You have to include the parent so I can listen to what you're telling my child. Oh, no. You can't. Oh, no. Excuse me, man. I'm sorry. I don't want my child to hear that. I don't need to hear nothing about no flesh. They need to play with themselves. No. They're going to find that out on their own. Every one of us found that out on our own. We don't need nobody to teach us that. Everybody going to find that. But the bottom line, I do think that there are some parents who feel uncomfortable, and it's okay. It's okay.
Good deal.
It's okay.
All right, preacher, we got to move on. Got to move on, preacher. Hold on for a second. Let me go to Leonard. Zamari coming to you next. Leonard, what's on your heart?
I think people pretty much really understand what should be done. You just got to go down there to that school board to make it happen. I mean, you need to be up in them people's business when they got your kids all that time during the day. A lot of people, like say for instance, as Miss Navia brought it up, when you're talking to these children at an early age is when then they'll bring something up. Then it becomes a social issue where it's referred to the proper individual, the social worker. When a child will tell you, hey, I've been being touched this way or what have you, then it's automatically moved somewhere else. I was probably the last year where they allowed, remember, they didn't used to allow pregnant girls to go to school with everyone else.
Yeah.
So I come out of high school in '89. And I think that was probably one of the last times, but then they started just letting those girls go to school and things like that. But you have to be aware of what's going on. Trust me, it ain't changed. It ain't changed.
Yeah.
But what we have to move away from is the ignorance in our community. I don't know how I got pregnant. You had better known how you got pregnant. Because everybody else around you know how you got pregnant. You know, we need to stop doing that and sweeping things under the rug. I don't know why you would be uncomfortable about something you doing regularly, but they even have books to help parents talk to their children now. There's no excuse for people to be ignorant about something so natural.
Yeah.
You know, trust me, you're going to learn wrong or down the road. The wrong way, and you're going to mess up a lot. But learn the right way. Let's teach the right way first.
That's good.
But be aware of the agenda. You may think it's not going on, but even if you're a gay person, you can go in there and teach sexual reproduction and all that, and you ain't got to mention nothing about you being gay at all, or how you like to do it. That is not what you're supposed to be teaching. You ain't even supposed to be answering questions about your sexual practices and how you do it. That is highly inappropriate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But look at all these teachers now that are getting in trouble for that because they stepped across the line.
Yep. Exactly. Zamari, caught you with a mouthful of food, didn't I?
You did. I just put cheese in my mouth. One of the things we haven't said, well, maybe we have in some way, I don't know. But 1 second. There we go. Okay. Is, you know, it is uncomfortable for some parents anyway, to discuss reproduction, sexuality with their children. Okay. For me, it was uncomfortable to a point. Where it got really uncomfortable for me, and it was when our oldest one, when she got to that point where she was graduating high school. Now, she's already been sexually active. We worked against that. Trust me. We taught her all of the right things, all the do's and the don'ts, and why you shouldn't, and the responsibilities that come along with that, and what could happen. STDs, pregnancy, everything that goes along with it. Okay, I really did my best in a lot of ways to try to scare her away from it, as did Dad. We did our best. We taught her the importance of her purity, of saving herself for that right person. Don't just go out and do it because you get a little tingly feeling. Okay. We taught her all of those things. She still did it. And then it came to the point where now she's going to college. Okay. She was supposed to be moving away a few hours away to go to college. And it came to the point to where we had to make a decision, and I had to have this conversation with her. Honey, you're going to college. You have dreams and aspirations that you want to fulfill for yourself. Yes. To protect you from messing up everything possibly. Not that you still couldn't if you got pregnant, but just so you don't, we need to start talking contraceptives. And she fought against it, and she fought against it. Mom, I'm not going to go to college and do anything. And I just looked at her. I said, you think I'm stupid? So you can sit here and you can tell me that you're not going to, but things happen. It's college.
Yeah.
You are in a freaking sea of fish, males, all sorts of different things. So it doesn't matter how many times you tell me you're not going to. I know the reality of the fact is you probably will. I might not hear about it, but you probably will. So to protect your future, I want you to go and get this done. Her grandmother talked to her about it. And she told her, Raven, yeah, you definitely need to. And so she did. She made the appointment and she went and she had that contraceptive taken care of. But you know, that to me, a lot of parents, they'll do this with their daughters, 15, 16 years old, to protect them from getting pregnant because they're not stupid. They know that their children are going to go out and be stupid and do something dumb, but so they don't come home pregnant. But see, that's one of those things that is taboo to discuss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're just giving them a free pass to do it. No, it's not a free pass to do it. It's protecting their future. It's protecting them from making or doing something and a byproduct of that something happening that they weren't ready and prepared for. But we don't talk about that part of it.
Hey, Raheem.
Yes.
Just because what Samaria said, if you all are interested in just a new way of doing things, because I think this is what caused a lot of issues. Stop buying your daughter's dolls to play with. Try it.
Wait, what? Explain that.
Stop buying dolls, babies, for your little girls to play with.
So I think I know where you're going with that. You're saying that you're really prepping them to be mothers.
Basically, that's all you're doing. See, this is why little boys are a lot rougher and a lot more detached from certain types of things. Because they've not been groomed to be mothers. And so think about it. You give a little girl a baby to play with, she won't play with a real one, Nick.
Wow.
And once she realizes how to get one, that's what she gonna go do. So Zamaria, you have to they need a group of women that teach women, young girls, just exactly what you said. We are old enough to remember where girls was dropping left and right with them babies. Now, come on. Everybody was getting pregnant around us. If you're around 50, 52, everybody was getting pregnant around us. I mean, at a rate so fast, every day somebody new was pregnant.
That horizontal mumble.
We need to kind of do things a little differently. You don't teach little girls to be mothers, to play with babies. Then they become so invested in that. And we got projects full of them. Because they just playing with a baby. Guess what they ain't got? They ain't got no husband. Why you think they came out with Ken? See, because wasn't no boy nowhere around in the picture. Look how warped that is.
Yeah.
It's no balance. You're starting off imbalanced. I can take care of one by myself. She's been playing with one all her life by herself.
Let me take this thing. I love where you went with this thing, and I'm gonna take this thing another step further. You get the little girl playing with the doll, and you say you're prepping her to be a mother, but yet and still you tell the little boy not to play with the doll because that's a girl thing.
Exactly.
Don't you won't play with no dolls, boy. Leave the doll alone. That's her toy. That's hers.
That's why they did it.
Wow.
What you gonna do when you see a little girl trying to breastfeed the doll?
Hold on.
I really got something to say on this.
I do too, really quick, if I can interject just for a second. So
real quick.
I did nurse my kids. My daughters, obviously I've got 4 here in the house. So as as more started entering into our home, my kids watched me nurse. My daughters, because my son was my last one. My daughters watched me nurse. So they mimicked that behavior. Just putting the baby up to their chest, not, exposing their chest or anything like that, mimicking the behavior. So I don't necessarily think that it's wrong. I think it's just they were doing what they saw mommy do, right? So I don't think it's wrong for them to do that because they're just copying mommy. They're just copying behaviors, and it's a healthy behavior, right? In my opinion, it's a healthy behavior. It's not something inappropriate or unnatural.
But at the same time, I think that there have to be a time limit stamped on there where you don't want them to jump into something like that before they're ready to jump into something like that.
Oh no, absolutely.
Meaning being a mother, having kids. I understand what you're saying, sis. Let me keep this thing going. Ryan, are you with us? Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I see you. I'll come right back to you. Ryan, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Hey, I don't really have much to say on it other than at least they didn't introduce Barbie's partner as Barbie. At least they brought in Ken.
Lord.
That's what I'm thinking. At least they didn't start it out that way. Now nowadays, in 2023, they got Barbie on Barbie and Ken got different parts and all. They're interchangeable now. So think about that one.
Wow.
I'd rather have Barbie and Ken than Barbie and Kendra.
Lord Jesus. Don't worry about where we are. You just going over there in that corner. Don't worry about where we at. You going over there in that corner. We don't even worry about that. Mutual phone. Jay, what's on your heart, brother?
I just wanted to say, I heard the saying, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way they should go. And when he is old, he will not depart. But who's training the child? It's the teachers. Like we've all talked about, everyone has an agenda. You see on cartoons, the agenda that's being pushed. But are we training up our children the way they should go? Myself, for example, I have baby mamas. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
But what I did with my children from my first wife, I never let my children see me with another woman around them at all, because I didn't want them to see. I didn't want them to think that it was okay for a man or a woman to parade different people in and out their life. So now that they're older, the ones that are old enough, 23 and 21, they're not doing the same things that I did when I was a child, because I said, listen, when you're smart when you learn from your mistakes. A wise man learns from the next man's mistakes. So if you see what daddy's done, even if you didn't see the girl or anything like that, they only know my wife now, my children. If you see that daddy has done some things that weren't conducive to a healthy living for all of us to be together on a daily basis, you would be wise enough not to fall in the same trap and do the same thing. That's where I believe the training comes from, in my own personal opinion. You have TV that's pushing an agenda. You have schools, as we talked about, that's pushing an agenda. Even the streets, friends, people who hang out with your son, people who hang out with your daughter. How are they being raised? They're being raised away. They can influence your children. You have to negate all of that when they step into your door, whether they live with you or not. I check my kids' phones. My brother Rico said about that WAP song. I had to take my daughter's phone at 10 years old because she's singing. She's texting the boy on her phone. Hey, I just need you to get with this WAP first. At 10 years old, and I'm paying for the phone. Take that thing. You're not no. I'm disciplining. I discipline my kids because I'm trying to train them in the way that when they get older, they will be wise enough not to fall in the same mistakes that others have fallen in, to where they're in a damaging situation.
Exactly. Good deal, Cassandra. And Willa, you up next. Cassandra,
can I go?
I'm coming to you, brother.
Yeah. I just wanted to say I learned the hard way that sex education needed to be taught. No one ever talked to me about sex in my house. Never, ever, ever, ever. Nothing about sex. Because I was raised on my grandmother. But my friends, quotes in that, friends, and I've told this story before, I ended up getting pregnant at 15 on a dare for my gang that I was in. I was the only virgin. They mandated that I have sex. They told me, I said, well, what about getting pregnant? They said, you see, that's why you just a dumb little kid. You don't get pregnant on the first time. Guess what happened? The first time I had sex, I got pregnant with my son. So I learned the hard way. We need to educate our children, because if I had known better, maybe I would have made better choices, But we have to teach our children about sex. And I'm going to throw this in. At 4, we were talking about, some people mentioned about the level and what time to teach. At 4, I started being molested. That's kindergarten.
Wow.
That's kindergarten. So then what I needed to know something. Someone needed to say, if somebody touched you here, that blah, 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 blah. Nobody ever did that in kindergarten. So you have children younger than me that have been molested. So just imagine, I'm 4 years old and I don't know what this is, or is it normal? Is it abnormal? So I'm just saying we need to educate children as young as we can on certain levels, like Toya, I think it was Toya that said. Of course, we're going to teach a kindergartner, first grader, or second grader differently than we do older children, but they need to know that early about touch.
Exactly. That's good. Willow.
Hey, I certainly agree with what Miss Cassandra said, because I think that needs to be taught more than anything in the world, because of the fact of all the molestation that children go through and they don't know what's happening to them. They grow up thinking it was their fault. Now let them be taught again by people that know and understand, went to school, and are able to transfer that information to a child at 4, 3, or 5, however old they are. But now I want to be a little bit transparent because I believe that if that had happened back then when I was growing up the way it should have to my husband, then my boys would have been circumcised because he was just following his father. Because his father didn't circumcise their boys, then he grow up saying his boys not going to be circumcised. And that was the wrong thing that I found out as I got older and my boys did when they got older, that it was the wrong thing to do. And I ain't going to tell you which one, but one of them was smart enough that they went back later on and got that surgery, and it was harder for them then than it would have been when they were a baby. So that's why I'm saying, see, sometimes even the parents don't know because they wasn't well educated the way that they should have. Now, we're talking about the educational part. We're not talking about the actions of afterwards. We're talking about the educational part. And I wished that we would have gotten a better education back then. And that's what's on my heart, Raheem.
Good deal. Good deal. Badger, go ahead, brother. That's good.
I was thinking about what all was being said, even to the point of the dolls. And I guess to my brain, if you don't provide the environment of educating, there ain't no telling what'll happen. Because I thought about what you said, right? When a male child plays with that doll, they're not treated very kindly.
No.
And one of the things that I've been talking with different counselors and therapists and mental health advocates and all kinds of things about is the way trauma works. Y'all know how much I'm on the whole trauma thing of life. If you sit there and you belittle a young child that is exploring and you throw all these things at them, there can be adverse effects to that. And that's the reality of this world, is we have to be careful how we speak to other human beings, especially those that are more easily influenced. So if we're sitting here and we're telling them that because of this or this, they are this way, or they're being girly or whatever, how confusing can that be?
So you're saying that it's a terrible thing if we tell them not to play with dolls? I'm trying to get some clarity as to what you're saying.
To me, it's the way you go about it. If dolls are being used to help a child understand social dynamics or how to use manners and different things like that, because they're possibly mimicking your behavior with other adults, be it through action figures, dolls, whatever, how we interact with our children plays a factor in that.
But Badge, I'm trying to make a connection. How I'm trying to make a connection as to what you're saying here, because you're saying with dolls and you're going in a totally different direction than what we were saying in regards to the dolls.
Because to me, one of the things I learned and I started to become aware of by working with therapists and all kinds of things is how you interact with a child and how you speak to a child can cause good things and bad things.
That's one thing. And I'm not saying that you're wrong in that part of it, but tied in with the doll, though.
So you also made a comment about, someone made the comment about how these little girls are carrying these babies.
Yes.
These baby dolls, right?
Yes, Leonard said
but
that.
But there's no males involved aside from a Ken doll. Well, what would happen if a mother or even the father got down there and played with them and showed how the interaction between those couples are?
See, that's where you
in
missed
a healthy way.
That's where you missed the whole thing of what Leonard was saying. He was saying that don't give them dolls, because what you're doing in giving them dolls and allowing them to play with the dolls, you're preparing them. It's like you're prepping them. Hold on. You're prepping them in being mothers, and they're not ready to be mothers already. And then instead of the doll, they want to replace the doll with something that's real, that's more real. And it happens before. Yeah, it happens before they need to have or be a parent or think about being a parent. And so you're tying a lot of things.
What age do
Badger, hurry up, brother.
What age do you actually start preparing them for being the father or the mother?
So you want me to give you a cookie cutter answer, or you want me to give you an answer?
I'm just asking a question.
Okay. Well, let me be the question asker. Rico, you ask your finger up, brother. What's on your heart?
Well, to answer that question, you do that at the time that they can start reproducing. But when you start talking about dolls, first off, we got to understand the nature of babies and brains and human beings. And every baby is not going to be advanced as the next baby. Have you ever seen a 1-year-old baby playing with a baby doll and they just drag it by its arm or have it by its hair?
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine that baby having a newborn brother or sister, and the parents, the same parents that don't even know to teach their children about sex, or maybe out doing some meth or doing whatever, living their best life. Imagine they slip up and leave that baby in the bed, and the little 1-year-old decides to go put a bag over his head like they do his baby doll, or just drag it off the bed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of responsibility for a child. But see, we have to also understand too. Navy said it earlier. We come into this world weak of the flesh. We are a pleasure-driven species. And babies have no more pleasure than having the dream and goal of ambition of being grown.
Mm-hmm.
So if you introduce that small baby to being responsible for a baby doll and talking to it, and you treat it like it's your baby now, you treat it like it's your baby, they might want to get grown a little soon. Have you ever seen little fast little girls?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them fast little girls were put in a position where they were doing little things that they probably should have been doing at the age they were doing, but their mamas was grooming them a little too soon. You see this word grooming, we got to remember that it really does exist.
Mm-hmm.
And we got these things called gateway drugs, where sometimes it ain't drugs, but it's still a gateway. It's an introduction. So introducing a small child with a fragile young brain that wants to be an adult as fast as possible so they could do what they want to do and do what grown people do, and so can't nobody tell them what to do. They might want to have sex, and that's the reason why they want to be grown. Mm-hmm. Might have a little bit more inclination to get there a little sooner because this baby doll make them feel grown. They feel like they could be just as responsible. Maybe they feel like they could go and pick up the baby and mama didn't even tell them to, because they don't understand that this baby ain't the same as this doll. So, I mean, it's a psychological thing. The same thing Badger was saying earlier about the psychology of it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the psychology from that youth. And once again, the school does need to counter that, because I ain't never had the birds and bees talk.
Exactly.
Never had it. I asked for it.
Mm-hmm.
Mama, tell me about the birds and bees. Birds and bees. Now get out of here.
Exactly.
They don't want to talk about it.
And you know what, Rico? I'm just like, but you know what? That was always ignorant to me, because I'm like, birds and bees don't do it. They can't do it with one another. That's just impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So for a long time, I was wondering why they did it. And when I learned why they said birds and bees, it's because it's just a euphemism that they use. Yeah. Some poet, I think, used it in a poem a long time ago. And that's how people started referring to it. I'm like, well, that's why people so stupid.
Yeah.
Because you're saying things that don't make sense to them. I just wanted to comment on something Paul said. Mm-hmm. Boys love dolls. They just call them action figures. No, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
That is not it. Boys can't grow up and babies come out of them. Like if you have a little boy playing with a doll, guess what? What if he thinks he can have a baby? Then you got to go have that other talk. The education should start when the questioning starts.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at child development, you'll see the onset of those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, for instance, tell your child, if they ask you, when you grow up and get married, then you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
See, because that's a positive influence.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell them they can go out there and do it any and everybody. They'll figure that part out. But what you tell them is, and when you get married, you can do the same thing.
Exactly.
That's what Christians would do.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Let me go to Joseph. Joseph, what's on your heart, brother? Joseph? Joseph might have stepped away for a second. Talk to me, Cap.
Well, I thank you so much. I really don't have no more to say. I really enjoyed everyone on here. I have mad love for everybody. I would be lying to you if every time that I come on here, I don't learn something. Willa was talking about circumcision, and I was laughing because she felt that if you was not circumcised for some reason, you wasn't fit or something. I don't know. But I have a different opinion between circumcision, and I think that when we talk about circumcision, it comes out of the scripture. The Jewish community believe in circumcision, but it also represents circumcision of the heart. Peel back the layers of the heart to be circumcised in the heart. But I think God has a way of doing everything. When a man comes into this world, he comes in this world complete. I think we have a problem when we try to take away certain things God gives. I have my sons, and most certainly that was one of the questions. I could have had them circumcised, and I don't want to cut off what God gave him. But I understood what it represented. I represented covering. He had to be taught how to keep himself clean. There's no question about it. But it also played a role. And I think that it helps other people now. On another note, circumcision is good because, you just have nothing to worry about keeping the phallus clean. But I just think that's religious. I think every parent needs to understand. I think the young man who gets circumcised, he feels good. Then the other man may get circumcised. Man, why'd you cut off? But it ain't nothing but the foreskin. That's all it is. And I think it's part of religious debate, but I don't think it's a sin don't get circumcised. But I do believe, if I had a chance, maybe I probably would have had my son. I think he got a little upset with me when he got a little older. Pops, why didn't you? And he couldn't go now and get it done. But like Willis said, it ain't as easy when you're older to go get it done now. There's a lot of pain involved. But that's one choice. I was just laughing. Forgive me for kind of rattling on. But other than that, right, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody. And I think it was a very good subject. And may God bless everybody.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Joyful J, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here in agreement with most of the conversation. I can't say I agree with all, but I really do agree with teaching a child or training a child up from a young person. I taught my kids. I have 7 children. I taught my boys what their thing was. I called it your boy, and a young lady your yaya. If anybody, there's a certain way I taught them. I think that you should definitely teach your children yourself, because you know what you've been through, and you want to teach them on how not to make the same mistakes or go through the same trials that you've gone through. And I believe that's just my own personal opinion, because I love them so much. I love them enough to train them in a way where they can understand as they get older. I continuously talk about these things. On how to handle yourself when you're out in these streets, because like the young lady just said a little while ago, I'm not going to be with you when you're in college. I'm not going to be with you when you're at the club or wherever you want to go. As you get older and you want to do your own thing, Daddy can only say, hey, I wish I wouldn't do that if I were you, or you shouldn't do that, but I can't spank you anymore. I can't tell you can't do that. You're not, because you're a grown man. You can do, or you're a grown woman. You can do what you want. But if I train you up as a young person and you understand the ramifications of everything you do, there's a price to be paid, whether it be good or whether it be bad. Once you understand that, and once you fully grasp that in your brain or in your mind, I believe every person, man, woman, boy, or girl, will live a better life because of those teachings from their parents.
Good
or
deal.
whomever.
And Navy, let me ask you a question. Navy, you still with us? Navy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes,
and this is something we've all done it. We've all done it. Let
little nicknames, wee and cookie and blah blah blah, when we're talking to our kids, because we don't want to be so quote unquote explicit in our verbiage, and so we give it other little cute little names. From the counselor standpoint, is that a good thing to do?
I think it's just a comfortable thing to do. And like I said, in my story, and I get it because, you know, like I was taught the same thing. You know, I was uncomfortable even as an adult using it. And to each his own, by all means. Like, y'all, I'm strictly coming from a professional standpoint. I am not a kid. I have an aloe vera plant that is barely holding on. So I'm strictly coming from a professional standpoint, and just from my experiences in those courtrooms and how it played out. And whenever you're in the forensic interview with these children, and, you know, having to basically and to some degree teach them while also trying to build case. And so that was my only point for saying, like, I mean, vagina and penis is not hard, but to say, but it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable conversation to have. And majority of my friends, and I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Mr. Leonard that said when the questions start coming, that's whenever the education comes. And most of my friends are social workers or therapists or in the medical field in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And one of my nieces, at the age of 4, she was starting to ask questions. And from then, her mom has taught her, okay, this is not your pocketbook. This is your vagina. And she knows that language. And it's strictly from the standpoint of we have been in courtrooms. We have seen how this can go. I can't tell nobody how to parent their child, but you know, and that's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just giving a different standpoint as to why my stance is that when it comes to the language.
Wow, that's good. Zamari, I'm gonna ask you this question. This is something actually that Badger posted, and I'm gonna read it, and I want to see what you think about it. On the side there, I feel. Let me. Okay, so I can open it up like this. Okay, I feel kids aren't supposed to be allowed to have emotions anymore, and that causes many issues. Do you feel the kids are not allowed to have emotions anymore?
Maybe if their parents are pieces of crap. I mean, you know, my kids cry, my kids get upset, my kids have bouts of anger. You know, I mean, it's natural, right? But as a parent, you teach your children coping mechanisms, how to overcome, how to acknowledge, how to recognize, and how to not let those emotions override their minds. Those decisions that are detrimental to them because they're letting emotions get away, they are letting their emotions get in the way of decision making. And so for me, in my household, yeah, my kids have emotions. Now, my almost 13-year-old, she broke down last night over something completely ridiculous. This is an issue, and I'm sure Navy probably has something to say this, but I have an issue with my kids crying when there's absolutely no reason for them to cry. And I'm like, I can't. I don't know why you're crying. I don't know why you're upset. I can't do that. You got a boo-boo, something is bothering you, something is affecting you. I can deal with that. I can't deal with you crying just because you're emotional for some non-existent reason, really. I don't know how to handle that, but I don't not acknowledge their emotion, that they're having that emotion, if that makes sense.
It does.
I think a lot of parents, in some cases, we do try to raise our children like robots. In certain homes, we just want them to do as we say, not as we do. You know, we say jump, they're supposed to say how high, sort of thing. You know, we expect our children to react like robots. They're not. Exactly. They're not. They're little humans. They're going to have outbursts. But we, like I said, we as adults, as the parental figures, we are there to help guide and teach how to control and rein in those emotions.
Exactly. And with that being said, we are about to get out of here. Now we're probably going to extend a part of this to a Way Out Wednesday. Way Out Wednesday gonna be crazy tomorrow, y'all. I got a topic for tomorrow. I'm letting y'all know ahead of time. I have a topic for tomorrow. Way Out Wednesday. We're probably gonna start talking a little bit more about this right here because I know everybody got some more things they would like to say on this. But looking at the time, it's 10:31, and it's time for us to get out of here. So with that being said, Rico, what's going on at 3:00 today in its entirety?
If you missed today's show and would like to hear or see the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Good deal.
Raheem.
Willie, can you say entirety?
Entirety.
Good job. See, Rico, that's how you say it.
She gonna keep on saying it. They're gonna mess around. She mess around. They ain't gonna be able to stop saying it. You're gonna get hooked like I did. It's a gateway drug. Don't do it. It's a gateway drug, Willow.
Raheem, I'll mess up a name in a minute.
There you go. In its entirety. You're messing up in its entirety. But Willow, are you ready?
In a minute. Raheem, you know what? I am so ready to receive God's word today. Come on, Raheem.
Now, hold on.
Go.
Are you sure you're ready?
I'm ready. Come on, Raheem.
I ain't got one more thing to say then. Let's go.
Amen. Come on. Father God in heaven, Lord, I'm asking you to reduce it. Come on, Lord. I'm asking you to show up, Lord, and allow the Holy Spirit to carry me to the throne of grace this morning. Father God in heaven, Lord, I thank you. I thank you, Lord, for waking me up this morning, giving me another opportunity, Lord. Father, I can't change what happened yesterday. But Father, I'm asking you to strengthen me to accept the things that I can't change in my life, Lord. Father, I'm praying that you give me strength to go through whatever it is that we're going through in our lives, Lord. Father, I'm asking you to help us in a mighty way. Father, I need you today. Father, I know you do things in your time, but I'm asking you, oh Lord, to bring me out of all situations that the enemy is trying to destroy, kill, steal, and destroy. The devil is a lie. Father, I'm asking you to cancel anything that he got planned for our lives, Lord. You said it in your word that no weapon that's formed against us will prosper. Father, I'm believing you and trusting you. I'm standing on your words and your promises. I'm not trusting no man. I'm putting it all over to you. I'm submitting myself to you, Lord, and I'm asking you to give me some guidance, Lord, and line me up with your will. Show me your purpose in my life, Lord. I'm asking for help, Lord, today in a mighty way. Thank you, Lord, for all that you've done, all that you're going to do, Lord, because I believe in you. You said it in your word that without faith, it's impossible to please you. And Father, I'm pleasing you today with my faith, Lord, asking you to continually increase the faith that you've given me, Lord. I thank you. I'm asking you to touch each and every last one that's on this line at the sound of my voice, Lord, that you help them in a mighty way. Father, we need you. We need you, Lord. We need you, Lord. We need you today, Lord. And I'm asking for some miracles to show up, Lord, that we know it's you and you alone. We thank you, Lord. Thank you for the morning glow. Thank you for Raheem and his family. We give you the honor. We give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen, amen, and amen. I thank you, Lord, in advance.
Amen. Amen.
Hey, Badger.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a report from yesterday?
What?
And your boys
Your kids, yeah.
Oh. They ended up, they don't have strep. kiddos just have a virus, and they are absolutely on the healing curve.
Good deal. Good
So
deal.
just doing what parents do and making sure they come up, they're healthy.
Hey, prayers work. I tell people all the time, man, prayer work. They absolutely work. Yes, sir.
Yes, prayers up.
Somebody just said something?
Yeah, it was Ryan. I just caught the tail end of some stuff, and I just wanted to say I'd rather my kids play with Barbie dolls and learn how to be human beings as adults than to have them being taught by YouTube and computers and the cell phone.
I could hear it was a little muffled. I could hear a little bit of what I can make out everything you were saying. It was a little muffled there, brother. But I know you said you would rather for your kids to play with say.
I'd rather them play with the dolls and learn how to be an adult mirrored after their parents than be left with tablets, phones, YouTube, TikTok, and all of that stuff corrupting their minds.
Exactly. That's good. And with that being said, man, we're about to get out of here. It's 10:37, man. Y'all owe me for a lot of time today, boy. It's 10:37, and it's the things that we've been on here 3 hours and 10 minutes. Man, Lord Jesus. Boy, let me get on. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:37. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple, I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug, because you never know, it could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed. See you all tonight, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here for Real Men Being Men. Make sure y'all join us tonight for Real Men Being Men. Ha-ha, Rico. I got you that time, didn't I? You all have a great evening.
I'll be there.
There you go. Yeah. You all have a great evening. Great afternoon, and we will see you tonight. Stay blessed. Love you. And give somebody else some love. You just might find some in return. Have a great one.